Padres have had
Hey everyone, Tony Gwynn Jr. here to tell you about my friends at
We're having a little bit of issues with
pitch. They've had to kind of scrap for the last couple of ones, but it's been nice to see them get the 2 victories. They pick up a game on the Doyers, who lost yesterday, and today back at it again. Stephen Kolek gets another crack at it. Listen, we got Scrape, you good, man? We got
we're good. We're good. Chris is out today. He'll be back tomorrow, so we got a little bit of a different setup today. We'll figure it out here. But as of right now, we are on YouTube. We are on the radio. Padres have won 3 of the last 4. People should stop freaking out.
Are people freaking out? I don't know that people are freaking out.
I've gotten some DMs, and in Padres pen pals, you'll see where people are freaking out because they don't believe us at all. And anything that we say. Anything. Like, Fernando is slumping. It's not because, it's not because of all this other stuff off the field. It's, I don't know. People just will find any sort of reason to make me feel like I'm dumb. That's basically what it comes down to.
Is that what it's all about?
I think so. I think they like to make me feel dumb. When Fernando's hitting 181 over the last 20 games, that's not good.
No, it's not. I mean, it's no good for anybody to hit 181. But, it ebbs and flows. He hit 400? He was hitting high 300s there for a while, during the first month. He's cooled off. He's clearly, not feeling great at the plate, but he's battling. He's trying to figure it out. I think I'm positive he will figure it out at some point. But I do think, maybe that has something to do with the offense kind of being at a lull. I think when he was getting on and finding his way on base, the offense just seemed like it was a machine. Kind of in the same way it was with Luis Arraez last year when he was there. Just seemed like the offense outside of the 20 whatever innings it was in the playoffs, it seemed like that offense just kind of followed the lead. And so, I don't know that Mike Shildt's thinking about changing it up at all, but I do think that there's a little piece of that. Padres haven't really been at that high scoring level really since Toddy has started to kind of slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense that if he slows down, then the offense slows down a little bit. But Manny Machado has not slowed down. And even with a small slump that he had in the last couple of weeks, he's still pacing. He's still first in a lot of the stats around baseball for third baseman. He has he's first in average, 319, first in OBP, third in OPS, first in runs, third in stolen bases, second in WRC plus. I mean, he's doing incredible things, and I don't understand why people are still giving him crap about how he's playing. I just don't get it. Tony, last week I decided I was done with all of those people that tell me I'm an idiot.
It sounds like you're right back in it. It doesn't sound like you're done.
I took the weekend away from social media too.
That was career hit 1961. He keeps chipping away, 39 away now from 2000. Yeah, man, you just get, at some point you just stop paying these folks attention.
I can't though, because
yes, you can,
because they're like they're my people. We're all.
I mean, well, if listen, I have a sister that if when she annoyed me when we were younger, I just ignored her at that point, and vice versa. So I mean, they can be your people. You can ignore them for a little bit.
I'm looking on the chat right now, and Ill619 says no one's freaking out. Scrabe, Tony, we good. Scrabe and his homies are freaking out. I gotta get into the same circles as Ill619. Like it's your homies
it does seem like it's your homies that are the ones freaking out all the time.
I actually have a segment later called I think it's called.
You don't know what you're gonna call it yet, huh?
No, but one of my friends goes, man, Padres, they hit into every single double play at the worst possible moment. They must lead the league in double plays. They must lead the league in double plays with 2 outs or 1 out and runners in scoring position, bases loaded, whatever. So I go and I look. And so now I'm going to present later where the Padres rank in double plays around baseball. It's like
I honestly don't think people are panicked about it. I think most sane people understand that, they haven't played well, but they're you can see them battling through it. I said this. I actually said this on Ben and Wood's show last week. I'm done with the body language readers out there, the ones that have a degree in body, language and speaking. You can miss me. You don't know what is happening with people in life on the field. Like, so let's just stop trying. All we can go off is what's happening on the field in terms of Toddy. The whole idea that, he just looks unhappy. And yeah, he's what did you say he's hitting?
He's hitting 181 over his last 20 games.
That would make everybody unhappy and feel like they hate the game. I know I would. So let's move off of that. If when he starts hitting, I promise you, the first day he has 2 hits, it will look different. I bet you the first time when he gets his first hit, it'll look different.
Yeah.
So
And another thing that I watch for with Toddy, at least, is how he plays defense. And he's playing defense just fine. He's playing defense at an elite level.
How about this? Did anybody peep in Atlanta when him and Merrill came together and Merrill took the fly ball, he threw it home? What did Toddy's body language tell you then? For someone who's just disinterested and not really caring.
It told me that he cared. It told me that he cared.
Because it seemed like he was a little bit kind of like, damn, man, you should let me take that and throw that one in.
Well, he's got the arm. He's got the arm.
But I'm saying, my point is, if he really didn't care, he would have just turned around and went back to his position. He would have sat there like, you should let me take that.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah, exactly. When someone does not care, they do not show emotion. They just walk right around and go back to their spot.
So, I think we should all pump the brakes on that particular piece of it.
Yeah, let's talk about something that wasn't so good, though, Tony. Padres send Michael King to the IL with right shoulder inflammation.
This is another one. I'm glad we are talking about this one because I actually saw this one with my own eyes.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know where I saw it, but a person thought that the Padres were somehow lying about his shoulder being hurt.
Okay.
Or they didn't tell the whole story or whatever it was I saw on Twitter. Or it was in the comment section. Actually, I think that's what I saw.
Stay out of those too.
Sometimes I'll dip my toe in just to see what kind of conversation.
Yeah.
And the idea that, because remember the day before he got scratched because he slept on his shoulder wrong.
Yes.
That happens. And literally it surprised them. And so they had to have a bullpen day. So the next day when they put him on the IL, I did see that. Like, they're such liars. I think the comment was something along the lines of slept on his shoulder wrong, huh? Something along that. Like, they wouldn't lie about something like that. Like, they probably thought, all right, cool, you slept on it wrong, you should be good. The next day he comes in, he's feeling the same. Okay, at that point, do you risk keeping him off of the IL and taking up a roster spot? Or at that point, you got to make a move. And so he'll get to it. He'll be on the IL. I wouldn't be surprised if he is capable of coming off before, but because the time is what it is, I believe it's 15 days for a pitcher.
Yep.
He's going to have to eat. But remember, it's retroactive to the last time he pitched. So it's actually, I think, probably about a 10 IL day stint versus 15. So, but I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, the whole thing with Michael King, I can understand why some people, I don't think the Padres are lying. I can understand why people let their mind go there, though, because it seems like, and this goes for all sports and all teams, but it seems like things are okay. He's just going to skip a start and he'll be back to normal tomorrow. And then it's like, oh, he woke up, he's still a soreness, he's on the 15-day IL. And we don't know yet, but then it's like my mind next goes to, okay, well, is he going to be on the IL for 30 days? Is he going to be on the IL for 50 days? Like, who knows?
Okay, but here's why they wouldn't do it in this situation. They had to have an arm. They had just done a bullpen day the day before. If they say, all right, you know what, let's just wait till tomorrow. If you're good to go, you're pitched in. That's a whole nother day that they go without another arm and he's taking up a roster spot. Let's say it's 2 days. Like, let's just wait 2 days. All right, well, that's what? Who's wearing that at that point? It's your bullpen.
Yeah.
So, at that point, you have to make the move, not just for Michael King, but to protect the rest of the arms you have out there that are going to have to shoulder the load while you wait to see what his shoulder does. All right, let's get to break. When we come back, more Gwynn and Chris, but with Matt Scraby.
Yes. There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are just around League 10 now, and it's getting really windy. Actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel, but he wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Gravy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, but we all had a good time. There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are That's week 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my 2 minutes. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after
It was a 5-footer.
after our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Gravy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting. Back in here, Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan. Still cannot figure out these cameras, so we're just gonna keep. We're just gonna keep the middle.
There's 4 boxes.
I'm just gonna keep the middle. It's fine. The middle's just gonna film the doorway.
That's too fun.
Matt's Gravy, Tony Gwynn Jr. Tony's down at Petco Park, awaiting Game 2 between the Marlins and the Padres. But tonight is the military hoodie giveaway, sponsored by Soapy Joe's and available to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. Limited tickets are still available at Padres.com tickets. So if you want this limited edition hoodie over here, you can go tonight. First 40,000 people are going to be able to pick that up. I know that this is a very nice. It's a nicely made hoodie. Like sometimes you get giveaways and you're like, okay, this is going to last like 5 seconds. But no, this hoodie is going to last you a little bit. I just need to lose some more weight to fit into them. That's really all it is. Tony, did you know that I turned 40 over the weekend?
I did know that.
And
Happy
it don't
belated
feel
birthday.
any different.
No, I mean, yeah, you don't. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Did you do anything? Did you do anything special?
Not really. I went to the driving range. That was fun. I
What did
took
your parents do for you on your birthday? Did they take you
Oh,
out to dinner?
my
They
mom-
make you a dinner?
Oh, here we go. Here's my mom's thing. My mom, she's gonna kill me again. I keep admitting things on the radio about her, but she, ever since we were little kids, she has this happy birthday song that she has to sing to us. And like every year I go, Mom, no on the happy birthday song. And she goes, "You're too bad, you're getting it." And it goes like, "Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Maddie. Happy birthday to you." And she always has to sing it. So we did that. And then I went to Fiesta Island. That's what I was trying to remember where I went. But yeah, I went to Fiesta Island with Lucky. He ran around in the water. He had a great time. There wasn't too many people there. It wasn't too hot. So.
Yeah, well, first did you celebrate with any actual humans aside from your parents?
Yes, I did. I celebrated with a couple humans.
Okay,
Yes.
so I want to make sure we can't have you only celebrating with the dogs. I know that's how your preference is, but we need, you got to have some actual human contact. And
I did.
Yeah.
I had many nice phone calls, and don't call me though on my birthday, please. I had very.
Are you a preferred text guy on your birthday?
See, here's the thing. I don't like any of it, and I know that it's weird that I
That's
don't like any of it because, like, I try to be mysterious with my birthday. I remember when Coach and Chris.
Wait. Why do you try to be mysterious?
I don't want anybody to. I don't like attention, and it's really
Like
weird
I
saying that from a
understood
guy
that
who
as
works in radio.
I understood that as a teenager, not wanting people to know because you get like your birthday licks. People will come up and like punch you however many times. But I mean, you're 40 now. Nobody's doing that anymore.
No.
So what exactly are you trying to be like under the radar about?
Just the attention, because I remember like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, Coach and Chris were doing a show, and it was my birthday, and they didn't know, and Chris was extremely mad that I didn't say anything during the day of my birthday.
About this.
And even Chris texted me last night like this nice long note about my birthday, and I said thank you and everything, but it's the amount of, I feel like I'm complaining that I have friends, but it's the amount of text messages that you get. Tony, you probably get a good amount of happy birthdays?
No, I don't know that I get a good amount. I get a decent amount, and I reply to all of them, and I say thank you. Because I like to be thought of on my birthday. I don't necessarily want anything from you, but the mere fact you reaching out and being like, "Hey, happy birthday, man," I appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna get back to all those
apparently.
people. I'm gonna get back to all those people because I said thanks to a lot of them, but then I just ignored a lot of them.
I'm currently watching Gavin do MLB tonight. He's was featured on there.
Let's talk about
on your screen.
No, he's not on in here, but let's talk about Gavin Sheets because ever since we had him on the show, he's still hitting. Tony, he had a home run over the weekend, and
we're so good now that people can't say we're bad luck.
That's very true.
Right, so keep on hitting, Gav.
He's been clutch here in the last week.
He has, man, and I tell you, man, I've said this before. A big leaguer with confidence is a dangerous big leaguer, right? And it just goes to show you how the ebbs and flows of the season, like it affects everybody's confidence. Right now, Gavin Sheets, there probably isn't a pitcher he's worried about in this league right now. As good as talented as Toddy is, right? I would venture to say that his confidence isn't as high and as it was earlier in the season. And those are normal human deals, right? I mean, I've played with some pretty good players, and I think the really good ones hide it better when their confidence is shaken than some. But everybody deals with it, and so Gavin, to your point, is at an all-time high. I loved hearing him talk about some of the specific adjustments he made in terms of getting to the ball down, because it seems like ever since he pointed that out, almost all the pitches have been down, and he's had to go down and execute that swing. And man, it's very easy to root for a guy like Gavin, right? Who was in a pretty terrible situation, kind of lost his way. And terrible in terms of his team wasn't very good. He was getting opportunity, but kind of lost his way and, looked himself in the mirror, reevaluated, came into camp with a better foundation, and he's only just added to it as him and Vic have gotten together, and he's having a terrific season, man. Again, this guy who didn't, he wasn't guaranteed nothing.
No.
He came here and made the team. And so, yeah, man, good for him. I'm happy to see it. And right now, quite frankly, especially in this late stretch, we probably might not have any wins if Gavin Sheets isn't doing what he's doing.
I mean, he hit one off of Chris Sale that was on the ground, basically. Yeah. I don't understand. Chris Sale seems like such a difficult pitcher to pick up because of the weird way that he throws it. But Gavin Sheets went down there, got it, tied up the game.
It makes it Sale's weird because he has like a Randy Johnson type vibe, and he throws his fastball as hard as him, but then his slider is like a normal curveball speed, but the same shape. And so and he's throwing it for a left hand. He's throwing it like literally from behind you. And you're like waiting for this ball to like reappear in your eyesight again, not knowing if it's 98 and it's behind you, you might die that particular pitch, and you won't see it until the very last second.
I mean, Gavin Sheets is a lefty. He's facing a lefty. That's impressive. And
I think that's been the other impressive part is he's been doing it against left-handed pitching. Sale was just one. He had another hit later on in that series against the lefty too.
He's I'm looking at stats right now. Versus righties, he's 288 on the season. Versus lefties, he's 220 on the season. But that's still pretty good because there are a lot of lefty hitters right now that cannot hit lefties.
I don't care about his splits right now because right now he's our best bet, whether it's a lefty or righty, and that's why he played left field yesterday.
That's another thing is that he fills in different positions that they need him to fill in and play, even if he's not comfortable playing them. Because I would be a little scared to go back out to left field at Petco Park after I lost my glove into the stands the last time I was there. That wouldn't be the best thing in the world. But let's reevaluate. What do you think is a benchmark for him this year? He's already hit 10 home runs, 31 RBIs. His career high for home runs was 15 a couple years ago, and I think he's probably going to pass that. But what kind of home run range do you think he's going to be in?
28 to 35.
That would be huge. That would be absolutely huge. because the Padres only have one other guy like that, and that would be Manny Machado or
Yeah.
Fernando too.
I'm gonna revitalize 25 to 30.
Okay, still that's a good amount of home runs.
I think that's reasonable right there.
Gavin Sheets also is like, when you look at his numbers from the White Sox, all you see is consistency. And so when the Padres signed him, that's what I looked at. He has a similar amount of homers, a similar amount of RBIs, similar average. So I think someone wrote this morning that Gavin Sheets might be the offseason pickup of the season so far.
Pavetta's been pretty good too.
He has.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a flip coin between those two.
Okay. All right. We got a couple seconds left, but we're going to talk about this during the Big Five a little bit more, and then we're going to speak with Christina De Nicola, who is the MLB.com Marlins writer. The SDFC game on Saturday, they ended up winning 2-1, but excuse me, the brawl was what took the headlines. And again, we're talking about this in the Big Five a little bit later, but this is a third incident, and I'm not saying SDFC is involved in these incidents, but this is a third incident at an SDFC game this year where it made headlines, and Mikey Varas had to go and address it right after they play the game. I don't necessarily think it's a fan problem, but I do think that it's an idiot problem.
Yeah. There's probably, of course, clearly. I mean, what grown men are still throwing haymakers at a stadium? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't even know like where to begin on these instances. I mean, it's kind of where we kind of are. It's not just San Diego. We see this like across the country,
all over.
I think it's sad that it's a place that, you know, we know, and that is near and dear to us. Not a good look on top of that, but maybe no one cares about what it looks like. I don't know, man. I don't really know what else to say about it. I think I was watching that instance, man. I thought somebody was gonna go over that rail.
There was a guy who like was half over the rail. There was,
and that would have been horrible.
I mean, we just talked about a kid falling over the rail in Pittsburgh and how bad that was. And by the way, Tony, I haven't even gotten into this, but AI at the park and facial recognition at Pittsburgh's park is what found out who gave him the booze. And so that's crazy.
That's the good thing. And they got this technology. They can like kick these people out that can't behave themselves.
Neil,
crazy.
Neil on the chat says this is an LA trash problem. Okay. No.
Who said that?
It's Neil.
Well, here's the thing, Neil. Fine. You might be able to attribute this one to LA trash, but we also had the slur issue early in the year. Was that a LA FC game? Was that a I
don't believe so. I think that was just a home game.
This is the third incident, you know, involving San Diegans. And so, you know, one of them for sure, you can make the argument that LAFC or the LA people were the ones causing it. You can make that argument, but this ain't the first one. So, and it's all been here.
And it takes two to tango. So San Diegans are going in on this too.
I'm willing to concede that point to Neil on that particular case, but this ain't the first one. So it's like you can't paint that brush everywhere. I feel very strongly, and then we'll get the break. I feel very strongly that you just walk away from someone who is screaming at you. There's no reason for you to engage that person. Walk away, go find a security guard, do something so that you don't get into a fight. And that's all I can think about in these situations is just walk away. Just walk away. All right. Break, we go.
Yes.
More Gwynn Chris on the other side. likes to pop off about the NBA behind the scenes all the time. And like this guy like literally does not watch the NBA. But he has opinions about the NBA. It is mind-blowing. This guy hasn't watched. He's only games that he's watched are the games that are on the TV when I've been in the studio. And you guys know how much I've been in the studio since the season started.
Oh, like every day.
So this guy is in the break telling somebody, I don't really care about who's in the finals this year. Like, what? You don't care ever. Why are you even participating in NBA conversation?
Well, first off, it all got started with me saying, we're talking basketball.
Yeah. Then I was singing another song, and he, of course, sang a different song that had nothing to do with the song I was singing. Go ahead.
It does not speak to me to have a Pacers OKC finals.
Okay, tell me what NBA finals speaks to Scraby.
That's a good question.
You know why it's a good question? Because
I
none
don't
of
know.
them speak to. Because you don't like the NBA.
I do.
Fine.
I don't hate the NBA, and I will watch the playoffs.
You don't have to like
I
it.
do like Ant-Man, so.
But you don't want to watch him in a final? Like what?
I think well, they are up, right? 3-1.
No, OKC is up 3-1. Yes.
OKC's up 3-1. All right.
And as I said, you don't watch you don't watch the NBA.
Yes. But I don't know. Maybe it is good for them to have new players within the NBA finals.
Whatever, Scrape. This is like talking to Mark Grant about the NBA. Like this is one of Mark Grant's favorite things to do. He'll hear Jesse and I or somebody else, me and AJ Casaville talking about the NBA, and he'll say a kind of blanket basketball statement as if he actually cares about what we're talking about. Like, oh yeah, the Lakers they didn't get back on D at all last night. Like he'll just throw something, even though he didn't watch the game, not 1 minute, not 1 second of it. And, so we have our little back and forth.
That's hilarious, actually, because I can totally see Mud being like, yeah, I didn't get back on defense. And then you being like, you didn't even watch the game.
or he'll catch like the topic of the day concerning a certain team. He saw a headline and he'll use that like as if he's been paying attention. He doesn't care.
Does
Christina
Don pay
De
attention
Nicola,
real quick? Sorry.
Huh?
Does Don pay attention to basketball?
Boston, but now they're out, so he doesn't care anymore either.
Okay. All right. All right. We are good to go, Tony.
Christina De Nicola is joining us now, actually. She covers the Marlins. Christina, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
I'm good, thank you. I'm walking to the park now. A beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. We got a chance to see this Marlins team for the first time last night and kind of talking to the people around the organization. And people who have played them this season. The one thing that you hear pretty consistently is that this ball club plays hard. It's a lot of young guys, some cast-offs from other organizations. I think we kind of saw that a little bit last night from this ball club.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, they had a 2-week stretch where they played the Chicago Cubs a couple of times, and they got walked off at Wrigley. They walked off the Cubs. They easily could have won 2 of 3 in both those series. So that's one of the things is even though there are a lot of, no-name guys or, less heralded guys, a lot of rookies, they're definitely putting up a fight almost each game.
Kyle Stowers, in particular, is having a terrific season. He played a little bit of center field yesterday, played a little bit of left. What does this organization see in him? And is this something that they see moving forward coming from him?
Well, it's funny because that's actually what I've asked a couple of times, this season, even to Kyle himself, because last year when he came over in the Trevor Rogers trade with Connor Norby from Baltimore, he was not good at all. And nobody would sugarcoat it. And he was definitely not somebody we would have expected coming out of spring training when he struggled as well to be one of the top hitters in baseball at the moment. But he, more than I guess any tweaks he's made hitting wise, it's his level-headedness, his mentality that he's taken in each day, whether he does, 2 home runs at Dodger Stadium or the walk-off grand slam against Mason Miller, or last night, I think he might have gone over. He realizes the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of a season. You can't get too high, too low. I think that's been huge for him.
Ryan Weathers, a former Padre, was on the mound yesterday. He looked terrific. 5 2/3. He gave up 2 runs, but those were unearned based on the Norby era that happened in that 4th inning. I mean, I heard coming out of spring training, he was you guys' best pitcher, maybe aside from Sandy. Have they been pleased with what they've seen from a guy like Ryan Weathers?
Oh, of course. And that was what was unfortunate is during spring training, he was standing out big time. He had trimmed some weight down once he realized there's some hereditary stuff and why he couldn't like keep weight off despite eating clean. He was hitting like the highest velocity of his career during spring training, and they had an unfortunate setback. So he's been back 3 starts. Each one's been solid. The first 2 were against the Cubs. You saw yesterday what he was able to do. It says a lot that last night, which was an otherwise very solid outing, he was still annoyed with himself about giving up that 2-out walk, especially since he said he was up 0-2 in the count, and then, he ended up coming out of the game. But no, he's definitely been one of their best pitchers.
Talking to Christina De Nicola from MLB.com, covers the Marlins, and I want to talk about the ownership a little bit because we've talked about the A's ownership here on the show and the Rockies ownership, but the Marlins ownership, I'm not so sure about them and how invested they are in making this team a team that can win the World Series, because you see the Rockies, they're not doing well, but they're still selling out games. And the A's are the A's. They're going to move to Las Vegas. What is the long-term plan for ownership of the Miami Marlins?
Well, as someone born and raised in Miami, it's, a question that comes up sadly. Seems like my whole existence, my whole life. I will say, it would be naive to say that, going in that the baseball world thought the Marlins were going to compete in the NL East this year. So what they have done instead of getting those big name free agents is they put money into getting the Traject machine, which it seemed like every other organization already had. Investing in their Dominican Republic operations, trying to do some innovative things until I think they're ready to do what kind of like the Padres did when they signed Manny Machado and other guys when they were ready to compete. They're using the money elsewhere into ways they can, I guess, improve the guys that are currently in the organization or some of these like under the radar finds to help them realize their potential. So I guess that's the best way I can put of how they're spending the money right now. But yeah, as someone from Miami, the big town that wants to see winners and superstars, you're seeing it right now with Florida Panthers, how it's paying off. Something's going to have to change soon, yeah.
Christina De Nicola joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Christina, I think the obvious elephant in the room at this point is Sandy Alcantara. He's coming back from Tommy John. I think at least people around the league expect the Marlins to move him at some point if he can get back on track. It sounds like his stuff is still there, but he's still working on, kind of making his way back from Tommy John. What have you seen from Sandy?
Well, yeah, I've been at every start. His velocity has been there. I will say, even though he had a very good spring training where I think he didn't give up an earned run, you could tell his command wasn't there yet. And now you're seeing it where, in the games that matter, it has cost him. I want to say the last few starts in particular, though, it's maybe one pitch. It's usually the last thing he's in there. It might be like a one mistake pitch, and it's taken for a home run, and it kind of changes the complexion of how good he had actually pitched. Yeah, the velocity's there. I will say he has been working on some new pitches, and I wonder how much that's actually kind of changing. He's been predominantly a change of sinker guy, and this year he's added a cutter, the curveball that he's very sparingly used in the past. He's kind of a sweeper to go with his slider. So if he were to get traded, it'd be interesting to see if he kind of looked a little bit more like the older Sandy version, if they kind of did some of those things and just had him go back to what he was so good at.
We're talking to Christina De Nicola from MLB.com. I want to talk about Luis Arraez because obviously he's on the Padres now. He got traded by the Marlins last year for a host of Padres prospects. Is there any sort of regret of trading Luis Arraez, or was it always going to be this way that he was going to be shipped out?
I'll say just personally, I love Luis Arraez as a person, so there's regret for me. We have him in the clubhouse, and all of his former teammates would say the same. But I think he hasn't performed, up to his standards this year yet. But Xavier Edwards is a perfect example. Is once he was called up after having a setback injury-wise last year, he was playing every day. he had qualified. I think he might have had the highest average in the National League or close to it. He can steal bases. He's an athletic infielder, so he's sort of like their equivalent of what Luis Arias is and younger. But it's hard to compare. Luis Arias or like a Steven Kwan, like those types of elite got to ball skills guys. But no, I think where the Marlins were then, and to an extent now, like they wanted to restock the farm system, as we even saw. At the trade deadline, they made 7 or 8 deals on the trade deadline. That was kind of part of the plan. And I guess once they were so far out of it, early May of last year, it surprised all of us, right, that it was going to happen that soon. But
Yeah.
I guess it was a sign of things to come, of their vision.
Certainly a big fan of Xavier Edwards. I think he's going to be a good player in this league. Christina De Nicola joins us here. And Christina, last one for me, Clayton McCullough in his first year as manager. He was a longtime Dodger first base coach. What type of manager is he? What kind of temperament does he have for, dealing with a bunch of young guys?
No, he's the perfect fit for where the organization is right now. He teased him actually a couple of days ago. He's very, very nice. And I said, you're a typical girl dad. He does have a son as well with 2 daughters, but he's the perfect, because I even asked, when you sometimes see these mental errors or mistakes that these young guys are making, do you scold them? And he was like, no, these are learning lessons. And in the idea that he knows, what the club, where they are in the organization and sort of what needs to be done. It's very much, development year, teaching guys. And he and the rest of the coaching staff have been very eager. You could tell from spring training to teach these guys and kind of help them grow to their potential.
Yeah, you can kind of see that in last night's game. He left Tyler Phillips in that second inning, and he had to go through the gauntlet. And that was a learning experience. He probably thrived in and will be better for it moving forward. Christina, we appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on and spending a little time with us.
Oh, thank you. And perfect timing because I'm walking up to the ballpark now. So I got my exercise and talk to you guys.
Nice. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you. Christina De Nicola, MLB.com. She covers the Marlins, kind of filling us in on what's going on in that organization. They are probably Padres 2017.
Like on the cusp of something?
No, not on the cusp. That 2017.
Well, I mean on the cusp of
year.
like building into something good. Like they have some pieces they're able to build around. Okay, what were you going to say before?
Manny joined when?
2018, I believe.
18. Okay, that's when you could start saying they're on the cusp.
Okay. All right.
2017 was still.
It would be really rough to be a fan of the Marlins or the A's or the Rockies. Apparently, it doesn't matter how bad they play; they're still going to sell
There's
out.
no better place to ask about being that type of fan than the San Diego Padres. I mean, I know we are enjoying the golden years, but for those of us that were around, it was very much like that. It was very much like that. I will say this: the Padres have always, even when they weren't good, they have always played better than their roster was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that didn't mean they were a good team. It just means that they always at least surprised you with a couple more wins than what they probably should have had that year. I don't know that the Rockies or the Marlins actually fit that particular point.
Yes.
They definitely suck.
I feel bad for the Rockies every time I see them.
Watching in some ways I'm happy that Buddy doesn't have to be the manager anymore because watching those games, you're just like,
what's the point?
You literally don't have a chance when the game starts.
And it's so baseball because I know that the Yankees went into Colorado on Friday, and I was just ready for 20-0.
Rockies almost won that series.
They won the first game, I believe.
Yeah,
even though Aaron Judge was hitting home runs, I think in the first 2 games,
I think he hit a homer. Might have hit a homer in every one of those games.
So this is my friend who came at me with the ground into double plays, like, how can the Rockies beat the Yankees? This is just ridiculous. What kind of league? I'm like, it's baseball, people. It happens every day. You roll a dice, something's going to happen.
Your friends must be filling up PPP all the time.
This is coming from one friend, and we're starting to not be friends anymore. Because I'm like, every time I see a text, I'm like,
he has to be driving you nuts. Has to be.
Yes, he's driving me nuts, and
Yeah,
I
would
keep.
assume so.
And you know what? You said something very, very that I wanted to go back to. You said this is like what it was for the Padres fans back in the day, like just having a bad team. Why does no one remember this? Why is everybody like acting like this has always been the thing? And I understand that.
Well, to be fair, I don't think the Padre fans that were around for that are the ones that have that frame
opinion.
Yes.
Which is fine. We're all for new baseball fans. I technically am a new baseball fan.
I think the Padres got a lot of new baseball fans. Not new baseball fans, but like new diehards when the Chargers left town. And it was the only team in town.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's a little element of that. But
there is.
For the most part, I think people recognize this is this is the golden days right now.
Yeah, I get texts about that all the time too. So as many negative texts as I get positive texts as well.
Yeah,
so
for sure. I know one guy who remembers. Dave, you remember what it was like before the golden era of Padre baseball? Do you remember? Like, see, he remembers. He didn't forget.
I remember, Tony. I was sitting up here lording.
How many years is this
entire
for you now? 32 years. So that takes him back into like the early 90s.
If I could turn back time right there. Like I told Dave that he
needs
what's
to
write
funny?
a book.
You know what's funny for Dave is he actually came at a time where the Padres weren't like terrible.
Well,
he's jumping on right now.
94, my first year, had the worst record in baseball, but then they got good after 2 years later than the playoffs. So yes.
See, at least at 94, you got to see my dad chase 400. That was awesome. That was like the thing that made the year a little bit easier to deal with.
I mean, in 5 years,
95, where they were supposed to be good at 95, right?
They weren't, but they're starting to get.
They were okay, so they started 96. 96, they get to the playoffs.
Right, that was like, wow, this is cool.
97, they were supposed to be good, and then they didn't have pitching. Something went wrong that year.
Right.
And then 98, boom. And then from 98 from 99 till about 2005, it was rough.
I mean, Dave, within 5 years of starting his job as the producer engineer, got to go to the World Series. He must have thought like this happens all the time.
He was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be great."
I'm going to the playoffs. I'm going to the World Series.
Within the first 6 years, he got to 2 playoffs and a World Series.
I think my first year at San Diego State, Aztec for Life, was '86. They made the Holiday Bowl. Like as a freshman, this is great. I mean, bowl games every year. Never played another Holiday Bowl again. Still haven't San Diego State since 1986.
At least he got to experience a Holiday Bowl.
True.
My 3 years, I didn't get to experience nothing.
No, what were your years?
I had the aircraft carrier years. And, yeah,
the tough years.
I got to see some good players, but teams weren't that great.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Daily Gambit up next. Gwynn Chris / Gwynn and Scraby on the other side. 3 o'clock hour. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scravy, Chris Ello out. Returns tomorrow.
Yes, he does.
Get old Christopher back tomorrow.
Oh, yay. I'm just kidding. It is nice when Chris is here because there's a lot that goes on when Chris is not here.
It does seem to work that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It always seems like all the news is breaking when Chris is gone. When he gets back, he's like, hey, guys, I want to talk about that trade that happened 14 days ago.
It's like, sorry, bro. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
Got to move on.
Old news.
We had, some All-NBA news come out. We have, I know you don't want to talk NBA.
We could talk NBA.
I don't really care
what
you want. OKC's up 3-1 in their series. Game 4 tonight in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Pacers looking to take a 3-1 lead. Knicks looking to even it up. That's been the best series of the two.
Yes.
Is that Knicks Pacers series. All three of those games have been big leads that have shrunk. As my man Jalen Brunson said, no lead is safe in this series, and that has proven to be pretty true.
Jalen Brunson's a really good basketball player.
I like Jalen Brunson. He is the perfect guy. It is kind of the same way that Steph, but only without the long range. But little guys are much easier for people to root for because they can see they can. Well, and I say little guy. I don't know how tall Jalen Brunson actually is. Just on the basketball court, he looks like a little guy. He probably is like 6'2", 6'3".
Oh, you got it, 6'2".
Yeah. So, it's just so much easier for people to root for those guys because you can see yourself in them because they appear small on the court.
Yeah, that's why I was a Muggsy Bogues fan. I thought it was awesome when Muggsy Bogues was playing at 5. What was he? 5'2"?
He was short.
5'3"?
He certainly wasn't 6'2". I know that.
No, he was very short, and then he was in Space Jam,
he's a really good player. Really, really good player. Probably doesn't get enough credit for how good he is, especially in the fourth quarter where he seems to be at his best.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Did you see the I think it was over the weekend, what other day they played the last game, Sunday, but the parking for did you see this? I had to make sure this was real like 100 times because I didn't believe it, but it's real.
I did see it.
One parking company in Indianapolis put up a sign that said $20 parking for Pacers fans, $100 parking for Knicks fans. And
my question was, how are they going to police that?
Well, you got to believe that Knicks fans are showing up in gear. You got to believe.
True. That's true.
And then they're sitting there and they're like, what? And they try to take off all their gear.
Was that a company or because I know in Indiana, like people at their house will set up parking and they can put up a sign and be like,
it looked like a legit company because it was it had like a company name on it and everything, but I thought that was hilarious. And then a Knicks fan posted in there, this is just straight up discrimination. And some guy goes, you do have other places that you could go park. You don't have to park there. But I thought that was pretty good troll job.
That was a great troll job. Shout out to the Pacers fans for bringing it. Shout out to Halliburton's dad. He has been reinstated back in. I think it's the right move. The man shouldn't be eliminated forever, but he paid a consequence. He had to miss games 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And so he'll be back for game 1, 2, 3, 2. Yeah, game 1, 2, and 3. Yes.
Yeah, and you know what he did? He paid his time. He paid his time.
He did.
But it's nice
all
to see
right,
him doing
let's
that.
get to some Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Again, remember, tonight is the military hoodie giveaway sponsored by Soapy Joe's and available to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. Limited tickets are still available at padres.com/tickets. Now, we didn't make any bets last week. We didn't have much to bet on with the shorter shows, but came up with a few here for tonight. Knicks at the Pacers. The Pacers are 3-point favorites, Tony. Who are you going with in this one?
Pacers are 3-point favorites?
They are at home.
Oh, give me the Knicks.
All right. The Knicks.
The Knicks.
I'm going to go Knicks, too.
Yes.
I'm going to go Knicks, too. Because I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't want the Pacers. If they're going to get the team in the finals, it's got to be the Knicks. Give me the big market team.
Now you're clamoring for a big market. This is how I know you ain't playing. You don't care about basketball. You're just over here just making stuff up. Go ahead.
Also, I don't like James Dolan, so forget it. I don't like either team anymore. So
yeah, there you go.
Which player do you think, Tony, is going to score the most points tonight? Jalen Brunson is the favorite, and then Karl Anthony Towns is the second favorite. But if you have a name, I can give you odds on them. Tyrese Halliburton plus 550. Pascal Siakam.
Give me Cat.
Okay, Cat's been pretty good lately. He's at plus 500. So, with Halliburton's dad back in the building, I'm going Tyrese Halliburton. He's going to put on a show, and that's plus 550 for that one. To the Padres game tonight. Padres are favored over the Marlins minus 1.5 on the run line. I'm up first.
So they got to win by 2.
They got to win by 2. Stephen Kolek is starting tonight. These have been such close games lately. I'm going to say the Padres break out tonight. I'm going to say Padres win by at least 2. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to say Padres break out as well. I don't know if I'm going to say break out. They win by at least 2.
Stephen Kolek, over under 4.5 strikeouts tonight. Under, interesting. I tend to want to go with the guy who's there every single day, but I'll play the contrarian and I'll go over on that one. All right, the last bet that Chris likes to do, and I think I like to do it as well because it's pretty fun. The Marlins pitcher, Max Meyer, over under 17.5 outs in his game. How many outs does he get? Does he get over 17.5? Does he get 18 or does he get 16?
So they got him at just 5 and some change.
Yeah,
basically.
5 and some change. Yeah.
I'm gonna say under.
You're gonna say under. I'm gonna say under as well. And that's all the bets that I got for today. But I know that Tony didn't watch this.
What didn't I watch, Scrape?
The Indianapolis 500.
I did not watch it.
I knew you weren't going to watch it. Number 1, you're on the road. Number 2, there was a baseball game happening. And number 3, you're not watching the Indianapolis 500. But the Indy 500 is something my family loves. And so I turned it on. But Fox's coverage, this was, I think, the first year of Fox doing the coverage of the Indy 500.
Was it struggle sauce?
It was bad. And it was... It was also like so many commercials, and the yellow flags didn't help either. It was like every time they got going, they would come around the corner, they're waving the green flag, and then someone in the back would crash and they go wave the yellow flag again. It took forever. But the Indianapolis 500 might be one of those things that I have to do before I die. Did your dad do it? I know he had an affinity for Indiana.
Yeah, he didn't have an affinity for NASCAR or the Indy 500 for that matter.
Okay.
I would say wait, what was the question?
Is the Indy 500 something you want to go to one day?
No, it's not. I do want to go to Madison Square Garden though. That is on my bucket list to watch a game.
I'm surprised you haven't been there.
No, never been there.
Chris has never been there. I've never been there either.
Definitely want to do that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
You have to.
I can. Yeah, Indy 500. I'll ask you guys how it went.
It went great, Tony. It was so amazing. The last time my family went was on my 21st birthday, which was
they've gone before.
Oh yeah, my grandpa went to Indiana. He grew up a Hoosier. My mom grew up going to the Indy 500. It's a big deal in our family.
Wow,
but
that's
over
kinda
the
cool.
years, it has kind of dwindled a little bit. But these guys, Tony, are going now 240 on the straightaways. They are moving and they're hitting these corners at 220, holding on like that. That fires me up.
Doesn't fire me up. It makes it's quite boring watching left-hand turns for however many hours that is.
I hate it when people say that. When they're
I'm
like,
just saying, bro. Like, you
make a left-hand turn for 4 hours and tell me how tired you are after that.
It does get exciting. You get to the last couple laps and there's some, drafting and all that kind of stuff out. That part is I can get in that, but that you got to wait for like 300 laps before you get to that.
Yeah, you do. And then all the greens and the yellows and the whites, or not the whites, the reds sometimes. It's just whatever. All right. Well, I successfully got us to 312, and that's what my accomplishment or my goal was when I started talking about the Indy 500.
Nice work. That was brilliant. It was sneaky too.
Yes.
I like it.
All right, Tony's going to be back a little bit later in the hour for Padres Pen Pals in the Big Five. But when we get back, I'm going to tell you something about the MLB standings at Memorial Day. ESPN put out an article, and they predicted how many teams in the National League that are in the playoffs right now would make the playoffs at the end of the season. So that's next on Gwynn Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Scraby here in studio, 97.3 The Fan. It is Tony Gwynn Jr. is down listening to Mr. Mike Shildt, the manager of the Padres. He is going to, we're going to hear from him a little bit later. We're also going to check in with Sam Levitt at 4 p.m., which will be nice to hear what he has to say about what Mike Shildt had to say. I'm here with Nick DiNucci. We'll bring in Nick here as the rest of the program goes along. But I would like to say this first. This hour of 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Frozen Ropes San Diego. Hey, parents, here's a message from Coach Kurt with Frozen Ropes. Is your child 6 to 12 years old? Our baseball summer league is the perfect fit for your players starting June 16th through August 17th. Summer league includes 8 practices, 8 games. Go to SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. That's SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. All right. Before I went to break, I told you about the whole Memorial Day article that ESPN put out. So they pulled 4 of their writers, and they just surprises, letdowns, things like that. And I found the playoff conversation pretty interesting, but I also found this part pretty interesting. It was surprises, and Bradford Doolittle is one of the writers who was featured in this article for ESPN. And he said, it's not that the Rockies are surprisingly bad. I'll get to what's surprising. He says this: they're minus 171 in run differential, meaning teams have scored 170 more runs than they have this year. They're on pace to finish more than 50 games back of the 4th place team in their division. They've given up nearly 2 runs for every one that they've scored. But the most stunning stat of all, and this is what I was bringing this up for, the Rockies rank 10th in per game home attendance, although they're last in their division in that area as well, which tells you how many people go to baseball games in the National League West. But they rank 10th in per game home attendance. They have won 8 games, I believe, unless they won yesterday, which I don't think that they did. The Rockies are on pace to be like 1899 Spiders bad, but they're on pace to shatter what the White Sox did last year. The White Sox are playing a little bit better this year, but the Rockies this year, they're 9-45. So they've lost 3 in a row, but they have almost got to the double-digit mark. But what are we doing in Denver? Like, I don't really want to come down on people for going to baseball games, because that's kind of what summer's all about. But it's just like, why are we going to those games? I don't understand as a fan. Like, when people tell me, hey, you got to hold these guys more accountable, you got to make them more accountable, you got to blah, blah, blah. I always say back, the only way to really hold a franchise accountable these days is to not go to games. So what the Rockies fans are telling, the ownership of the Rockies, Dick Monfort, that they don't need to change anything. We're still going to come to games. We're still going to pay money at your concession stands. We're still going to do this. We're still going to do that. And if that is the message to ownership, then there's nothing that's going to be changed about that team. It doesn't seem like he cares that his team, Dick Monfort, that is, doesn't seem like he cares that his team is one of the worst teams in history right now. All he cares about is getting all those people into that stadium, buying Rockies gear, buying beer, buying hot dogs, all of that stuff. And that's a problem. I didn't think there would be a day where I disliked Dick Monfort more than I disliked John Fisher. They're neck and neck, but John Fisher, he's probably being forced to spend some money, but at least he is spending money. Their whole situation in Sacramento is not going well either. I was talking about it last week that some fans are very upset that some fans are pretty upset that they bought season tickets and now they're seeing people buy tickets that are cheaper than their season tickets. And my answer to that is you probably shouldn't have bought season tickets because you didn't know what was going to happen. If it was like a team like the Red Sox, that season tickets sell and tickets sell for the Red Sox. But anyway, it's quite disappointing, I would say, that the Rockies are still ranked 10th in Major League Baseball in per game home attendance. But what I really wanted to get to was of the 6 current National League playoff teams, they were asked how many will be there in October. And so here are the 6 current National League playoff teams. This was as of last night, and I don't think anything's changed. The Phillies have the best record in the National League. Then it goes the Cubs. They are a division leader, and then the Dodgers are the West leader. Then the wild card teams, you got the Mets, you got the Padres, you got the Giants, and then you got the Cardinals 1 game back of the Giants, and you got the Diamondbacks 4 games back of the Giants. So what the writers, and by the way, I want to point this out. We played a clip of John Kruk a couple weeks ago talking about the Phillies slide, the 4-game slide, and how are they going to make it out of this? And John Kruk kind of laughed, and he was like, yeah, we only got 100 games or more to make it out of this. Well, the Phillies have won 9 of their last 10, so it's plenty of time for them to make it make it to the playoffs, because they're leading all of the National League right now. But the Phillies, so the writers said that 5, and these are all respectively, 5 teams will make it currently, 4 current teams will make it, 5 current teams will make it, and then all 6 current teams will make it. None of these writers said that the Padres are going to slide out of the playoffs, which I thought was kind of interesting, because it is a hot topic to say that the Padres are going to slide out of the playoffs. And those writers basically think that the Giants don't have the staying power and the Diamondbacks don't have the staying power. Some of them believe that the Cardinals are going to be able to play themselves into a wild card spot, because it will be hard for them to catch the Cubs throughout a full season, although they're only, I think, 3 games back of the Cubs right now. But a lot of these writers don't think the Giants are going to hang on for as long as they can because of their pitching, and some just think that the Diamondbacks are showing who they are right now, which they are 500, and they're 4-6 in their last 10. Now the Padres aren't any better in their last 10. They're 3-7, but they won all those games in the beginning, which helped a ton for their record right now at 30-22. But I did think that it was kind of interesting that there was not much movement in the National League playoff race, according to some of these baseball writers, on Memorial Day. And that just shows you, I guess, that the NL is maybe very top heavy. They also have the Reds listed. I think the Reds are kind of a scary wild card team, and wild card not actually being a wild card team, but they could be a team that just comes out of nowhere and tears up the second half, because they have a lot of good young players that can do some stuff, like Ellie De La Cruz. They got, Matt McClain. They have Hunter Green. They got a lot of guys that can produce at a very, very high level. But for you, Nick, and Nick DiNucci is with me in studio here today. Nick, out of those 6 teams, the Phillies, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Padres, and the Giants, which team do you think is going to be a team that drops out?
Repeat those one more time.
Phillies, Cubs, Dodgers, Mets, Padres, and Giants.
It's a good question. I would think, personally, I'd say the Cubbies.
You would think the Cubs are going to drop out. They're playing really well right now.
Right now, though, but I just feel like, I don't know. Then again, the Giants too. I'm thinking automatic Dodgers are in, and then you said I'm liking the Dodgers and Phillies are going to get in there.
Dodgers and Phillies, okay.
That's kind of automatic, in my opinion. That's automatic.
And do you think that you don't think the Mets have any chance at the East title?
That I don't. What is the Mets record right now? Actually,
33-21.
Damn. Okay, a little bit better than I thought.
Yeah, they're a lot better than everybody thinks. They've been playing pretty well, but they've went 5-5 in their last 10.
I would still think, just my gut says Cubs and Mets, because they can be like they're doing well right now, but they strike me as kind of inconsistent when they get to that crunchy moment in the end. That's just my.
I mean, the Cubs did a couple years ago have a playoff spot and play themselves out of a playoff spot, which was not great. But I would think that the Giants have to be the biggest prove it to me team.
Especially with they're just, I feel like they're young.
They're young. They don't have they don't really have the star power, and they're pitching outside of like Logan Webb.
Right. There's not much depth there.
Yeah, there's not much depth there with their pitching. So we'll see if the Giants can hang on. But the National League West is just one of those divisions that is really, really good. And it's one of those divisions that the Padres, people keep telling me, oh, the Padres are falling off. They're still right there. They're still 30-22. They're just maybe a game and a half back of the Dodgers right now. And let me see. Or they're 2 games back of the Dodgers right now.
If they hadn't won all those games in the beginning, it'd be a different story. But because they did so well right off the bat, I think they kind of gave themselves that ability to kind of make the mistake. It's better they go through this now than wait till August, September.
You never want to peak. You never want to peak in May. You want to peak in August, September. And if the Padres are, you would have told me 52 games into the season. If you were to tell me that they would be 2 games behind the Dodgers, 52 games into the season, I would have called you a liar because I wouldn't have believed it. And it would, I just wouldn't have believed it. The Dodgers were one of those teams where I came into the year thinking there's no way that they lose the National League West. There's no way that a team contends in the National League West. But as of right now, 52 games in, the Padres and the Giants are definitely fighting in the National League West. The Diamondbacks have slipped, so that's good to see. It's very good to see. And also the Padres have a very friendly schedule this week. They get the Marlins for the next 2, and then they have the Pirates come to town at the end of the week. By the way, I looked up some of the things or some of the pitching matchups for the Pirates and the Padres. It looks like Paul Skeens is going to miss the Padres again. So
they've been getting unlucky with not seeing him, not matching up against him.
No. They've been getting unlucky because I want to see Jackson Merrill against Paul Skeens. If Major League Baseball knows what they're doing, they would make Paul Skeens maybe move back a little bit. But it seems like he's ducking the Padres.
It's starting to get a little fishy because it's been so many times where he hasn't been starting against us. So it's a little strange.
They can't put the Rookie of the Year up against the real Rookie of the Year. Come on now. Do you
know if that sign is still, what was it, the 54? That sign was on the 54?
I don't know if it was the 54, but it's not there anymore.
Yeah, I noticed it wasn't, because I saw it once.
Merrill Mania.
Tried to take a picture of it, couldn't get it because I was on the bus. It wasn't. I think I didn't notice it again when I tried to look for it the next time.
I was going to say, you shouldn't be taking pictures, but you're on the bus. So
I was not driving. Don't worry. I wouldn't be doing that.
All right, good stuff. Matt Scraby filling in, Gwynn and Chris. Chris is going to be back tomorrow. Tony is down listening to Mike Shildt. We're going to talk to Sammy Lev at 4 p.m. But when we get back, we have Padres pen pals. And let me tell you, I got a very angry DM after Ronald Acuna Jr. hit the home run on Friday night. And we will try and get through this guy's comments. So Padres pen pals when we get back here, 97.3 The Fan. right, back here, Odyssey Palace, 97.3, The Fan. Matt Scraby filling in for Chris Ello, who's going to be back tomorrow. It's kind of a crazy thing back here, I got to tell you. I'm all over the place. Got my guy Nick DiNucci with me here today. So if you see someone who does not look like Chris or Tony in the camera, that would be Nick DiNucci. You can also watch us on YouTube. If you did not know, you can go to 97.3 or go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan. You'll find it there, also on Facebook and Twitter, 97.3 The Fan. Before we get to our Padres pen pals, we have a lineup. Batting lead off, playing right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Luis Arraez back at first base, batting second. Manny Machado batting third, playing third. Merrill back in the cleanup spot, playing center field. Gavin Sheets DHing. Bogey, shortstop, batting sixth. Jake Cronenworth batting seventh, playing second base. Diaz batting eighth, playing catcher. And then you got Wade playing left field. Tyler Wade playing left field, batting ninth. And you got Stephen Kolek pitching for the Padres. I've thought Stephen Kolek has been pretty good so far this year. Like, did not expect for him to be as good of a starter as he has been. And Stephen Kolek, he is making a case for why he's going to stay in this rotation for a while. Because, you know, we have the whole Michael King injury that happened, and he's on the IL, and Yu Darvish, no one really knows where Yu Darvish is or where Yu Darvish is at with his recovery. I thought he may have been there for Toronto, but he wasn't there for Toronto, and he wasn't there in Atlanta, so maybe it's coming up soon. But we have in Padres Pen Pals, whenever traffic is ready, Nick, we'll go right to it. But Tony and I are going to talk to a couple. Okay. Tony and I, we got a lot of different things. Now I know when the guys go, stop giving me hand signals. I know. I get it now. Because it's kind of crazy. But we're going to talk about an angry tweet. We're going to talk about Toddy struggling. A pretty interesting trade proposal brought up by someone from East Village Times. So we're going to get some traffic, and then Tony will be back with us for the, not the Big Five, Padres Pen Pals.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Couple problems to mention here. Eastbound 52 before the 15, a collision involving several vehicles. It's in the center divide. South 163 past Genesee got a collision over to the right shoulder, and an accident clearing from the transition ramp west 8 to the 805 connector. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fact.
It's time to ask the experts, Padres fans.
I was hoping maybe you can bring a little insight into it.
Write us, tweet us, Facebook us, send a carrier pigeon for he thinks they're cute. Padres Pen Pals begins.
Hurt the pelota big time.
Now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so we got a mixed bag this week of Padres Pen Pals topics because it was bad before they went to Atlanta, and then they went 2 of 3 in Atlanta, and then they take a game last night against the Marlins. So they've won 3 out of their last 4. So we got a couple different opinions here. Let's get into this first one that came in to me on Friday. So it was like right after Acuna hit his home run on the first pitch in Atlanta. So you can imagine where this is going. Like, didn't even wait for the game to get over, just went for it. First, if you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's. For authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. All right, here it is. You guys are an absolute joke. And the more you say you aren't being told what to say about this absolute waste of a team, the more I think you guys are being told what to say. Team has lost 6 in a row. And now even a guy who hasn't played all year hits a homer with the first pitch that I saw. I'm done listening to your show. I'm done listening to a station that can't tell the truth. If this team has a 500 record by the All-Star break, that would be a miracle. Keep spreading lies, guys. I won't be listening. My my thought is you're probably still listening because that's what hate listeners do. But there's no real question here, Tony.
No, clearly.
All I
he
wanted
doesn't
to
want
do
to hear.
was bring
He doesn't
it up.
want to hear what we have to say.
I would say, and I said this after you were gone on Friday, I'm done with people telling me that this team is not a 500 team. I'm done with people telling me that this team doesn't care. I'm done with people freaking out after Acuna pitch.
Would we still be able to put together a PPP if we ignored these people?
Yeah, but it would be too like nice and fun and light.
Okay,
and
fair enough. I don't think there's anything to say. I think that kind of speaks for itself. This man is the Padres ended up winning that game, by the way.
Yes, they did. And I got back to him. I said,
what did you say, Scrape?
I said, bring that energy. I said, basically,
keep that same energy, buddy.
Yeah, but I used a couple extra words like, I don't need you to listen. Get the F out. Thing. Like, get out of my DMs. That's what I said. I was furious with that DM.
Gravy has finally had enough. He is no longer turning the other cheek. He is firing off.
No, I'm firing off. I even went back to look and see what time the DM was sent, what time Ronald Acuna hit the home run, and it correlated, and I knew why he wrote it. So
that's funny.
All right, here's a real one, or like a one that wants some feedback from us. Toddy is struggling, and I keep hearing and seeing, mostly from fans, that he is sad, and something is happening in his life, and that's why he's struggling. I have a hard time believing his off-the-field happenings would directly impact the slump this long. So, Tony, do you think off-the-field stuff could be a reason for his slump?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we all got something we got dealing with, and I tend to believe he's sad because he's not playing well.
It makes
like
sense.
It's not the other way. Like something happened outside, now that's taking his joy away, and I think he enjoyed. I mean, who wouldn't enjoy being in an MVP conversation after the first months of the season,
right?
And I'm sure he enjoyed hitting homers and doing all the stuff he was doing. Baseball is fun when you're having success. Baseball sucks when you're, getting the ball shoved down your throat. And, based on how he has played here as of late, he's struggling a little bit. And I think that has far more to do with him not even going to address what has just been happening.
Sorry, I'm having a conversation.
Clearly.
Yes, the light is on. I'm on the air. What do you want?
Louise.
Anyway,
I lost my train of thought.
No, it's all good. You said what you needed to say, which is, yeah, maybe it could be, but it's also, it stinks to play bad. No one wants to play bad.
Yes.
No one wants to
sad.
play bad.
I was sad every time I sucked, and that was a lot.
I don't think it was a lot, but
it was a lot.
You know who I was talking to someone. No, actually, I think it was our boss Adam last week, and he was saying how sometimes his son is like, "Oh, Dad, I went 0 for 3," and I'm like, "You just need to hit him with the Tony Gwynn Sr. and Tony Gwynn Jr. story of when he went like 0 for 4 and he's still hitting 370, and boom, it's like, son, I suck." And you're like, "No, you don't. You're hitting 370. You're hitting 370. It's fine."
Sometimes you need to tell yourself, I suck. There's nothing wrong with it. Now you can move on and try not to suck anymore.
All right. I'm going to start doing that.
Could you do it out loud when I'm around just so I can hear you say it?
I'm not going to suck anymore. All right. I like this question. It's interesting. Which team do you think the Padres right now are closer to? The team that started 14-3 or the team that is 16-19 since? And I'm going to steal the thunder right now. And I'm going to say it's somewhere in the middle because...
Good answer.
They're definitely not a 14-3 team, but that 16-19 record is there's a few things in it that aren't being told, like injuries that happened throughout that entire time. They lost. Why am I forgetting Jackson Merrill's
Rise, Cronenworth, Merrill.
Yeah, they lost Merrill for a month. They lost Cronenworth for like a month. They still don't have Yu Darvish. So things like that. Like I think they're somewhere in the middle towards the good side. What about you?
What are they now? 30-22.
I don't know what's going on. Like some people keep coming to the window asking me for help, and I'm like, I'm doing something. If you need to go back and watch the YouTube because I literally just went like, get away from me.
They are 30-22. I think that's probably more what they are. I think that puts us right in between. So basically, I'm saying the same thing you're saying.
Yeah,
is that they're 14-3 is a crazy pace.
Yeah,
but 30 and 22 seems about right where they are, considering all the things that they have. I think this is more of kind of the team they can be, and see what happens from here.
30-22 is pretty good for an absolutely trash team. That our first person.
So that would the next, what was that? That's 30-22. That's 52 games. Another 52 games. That would be 60-44.
You've lost me. Oh, I see what you're doing.
I'm doing. I'm just adding.
I mean, they're like on pace to win 90 games, 85 to 90 games, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
All the math people out there are like, you guys are dumb.
Dummy.
You dummies. Hey, that's why Tony played professional baseball and I ended up just talking for a living, okay?
Oh my God. Me and Jesse were doing math the other day on the air. It didn't go all that well.
Okay. Final one. And here comes a trade proposal brought to you by @Greg Hoadley on Twitter. He's from the East Village Times. And he put out this trade proposal and it got a lot of traction. So I wanted to bring it to the show. It's with the Orioles. And so the Padres are going to trade away Ethan Salas, Randy Vasquez, Wandy Peralta, Brandon Lockridge, Isaiah Lowe, and Boston Bateman for Adley Rutschman, Cedric Mullins, and a lower level prospect. I guess I'm going to go to you first, Tony, because you're up first. Would you make that trade, or do you think the Orioles laugh in the Padres' face?
Give it to me again.
It's a lot of Padres. Salas, Vasquez, Peralta, Lockridge, Isaiah Lowe, and Boston Bateman. And then Padres get Adley Rutschman, the catcher, and Cedric Mullins, an outfielder, and the lower level prospect.
No shot.
I agree.
Adley Rutschman has how many years of control?
He's got two more.
2 more years of control. You get a Cedric Mullins. You can put it in left. And who was up? 2,
a low
6
level
for 2?
prospects. Yeah, I mean, seems like Padres are giving away too many people.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate the guesswork on this stuff.
Yeah. I just think from the Orioles' perspective,
I think it's too early for their perspective to be just shipping off somebody like Adley. I know he just hasn't played well last year and some change, but yeah. And Ethan Salas, he is a good name. He's hurt right now.
Yeah,
too,
he's hurt. Why? There's a lot of. I always ask, would the other team take it? It's not about if the Padres would take it. Would the other team? And I don't think that they would, because Adley Rutschman is a building block of their entire team. So Cedric Mullins has been on that team forever too. All right, that is it for Padres Pen Pals. All right, so this is not the, spiciest Padres pen pals in the world. Are you kidding me? Those were just the easy ones that I did, that I was able to put onto the Padres pen pals. And I'm trying to run the YouTube at the same time. I'm sorry, everybody. There we go. The trade proposals, I like trade proposals, but I'm not a fan of trade proposals that don't really take into account what the other team might say about it, because the trade proposals are great and it's fun to talk about, and I'm a big fan of those trade proposals because it's fun to imagine it. But I don't think the Orioles would ever get rid of Adley Rutschman. Well, let me start that over. They would get rid of Adley Rutschman if the price was right, but he's someone that around. And then on the Padres side, Ethan Salas, I wonder what we don't know about him. Like Tony said, that he is injured right now. He's probably not going to be back until June. So there's that. Randy Vasquez has been really good. Why? I don't understand why Randy Vasquez would be a part of this deal when you're not really getting a pitcher back. Yeah, I mean, the lower level prospect could be getting a pitcher back. I mean, I like Cedric Mullins. Adley Rutschman's only under control for the next 2 years. And quite honestly, he hasn't been the same player he was when he was his rookie year. He has struggled since then. And so Adley Rutschman, although I love the guy, and I think a switch hitting catcher who is able to hit for power at times is very interesting, and I would like to bring someone like that in. But I don't know that I would do it only for those 2 years that he has left on his team deal. He has 2 more years of arbitration. He's making $5.5 million this year. I just don't think that I don't think that plays into the Padres' plans for any of this. And like Wandy Peralta, I'm fine with Wandy Peralta being in a trade. It has nothing to do with his performance as of late, but I do think you can find relief, and that would be relatively easy to replace. I really like Brandon Lockridge. Now, am I going to keep him on the team just because I really like Brandon Lockridge instead of getting Cedric Mullins in there? No, I want to see, because I don't think that Cedric Mullins is on the upside of his career. I think he's a good player, but I think that he's a player that you're not going to see his best years, and you're giving up on a guy like Brandon Lockridge, who's young and who has still a lot of control over his contract. And so Brandon Lockridge right now is a major league ready player. So I would not trade major league ready players right now. The Padres don't have enough depth of major league players to make this trade. What you got, Nick?
It just makes me think of the Nico Harrison fiasco with Luka. And it's a different sport, but still you're trading away something that you think, like, you're trading away one of the best players ever for not that great of a haul in return. I'll put it gently. You want to make sure you get the good haul. That was the real travesty with Harrison. He just got not a good trade back for Luka.
Yes, and people were very angry about it. I mean, I don't think anybody in baseball would be angry about something like this. And let me again say, I'm not like trashing the idea of this trade. I think it's interesting. I do. The players that the Padres had named in it were the ones that made me want to bring it to Padres Pen Pals, because like you got 3 out of the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. 3 out of the 6 are major league players right now. And Ethan Salas, we know he's good, but we don't know how good he is. So, and Randy Vasquez, I think he's pitched well enough for me to give him a little bit of grace and say that he should not be a part of this trade. All right, that's Padres Pen Pals. Gwynn and Chris, I'm Scraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Tony's going to be back for the Big Five at 4:40 p.m. But when we get back, our guy, Sammy Lev from Petco Park, will join us, give us an update on how things are going on 97.3 The Fan. He will be back tomorrow. I got Nick DiNucci in studio with me. He's with me till the end of the show. We still got the Big Five to go. And next segment, I actually have a new segment. And it's, I think I'm going to call it Fan Fact Check. Because one of my friends over the weekend was like, hey, they hit into double play. The Padres hit into double plays all the time in big situations. So I went through all of the stats and looked at where the Padres are in GIDP, grounded into double plays, in some of the different scenarios, like late and close, score is tied, runners in scoring position, runners on first and third. So there are, I think if I can get more topics like this, I would like to do something called the Fan Fact Check, because it's good for me too. I like going through and researching this stuff, and I like going to see if I can prove myself right or prove myself wrong. Normally it's me proving myself, normally it's proving myself wrong, to be honest, because I do that thing where I'm like, I'm sure that this stat is going to be the stat, and it's not the actual stat. We are waiting for Sam Levitt to head back up from the Mike Shildt press conference or media scrum. So we will talk about that, or talk about what he said down there. Also, a little bit later, I want to get into Michael King and his IL stay, which Tony does not think is a big deal. And I want to believe that it's not a big deal. I really want to believe that it's just, it's something that is, it's at face value. Like what they say is what's happening. And they put him on the 15-day IL, which is like retroactive to the last time he started. So it's almost like a 10-day IL. And Mike Shildt is just hoping for him to miss one start. But I got a little concerned about that. I do. I'm not quite sure if it's not that I don't believe it, but I'm not quite sure if I can plan on Michael King coming back here by the next couple starts of his. And I'm hoping that's the case. Michael King and I, by the way, share a birthday, May 25th. So he's exactly 10 years younger than me. And I got to say, I got out of bed just fine on Sunday. So, well, what's your excuse? Oh, wait, you have to go pitch a Major League Baseball game, Michael King? Okay. All right. I get it. I do. And if your shoulder is sore, you better say something rather than try to push through it, because that's how bigger injuries happen. But I'm just not sure how long they could weather a Michael King missing in the rotation, because they don't have Yu Darvish back yet. They don't have Matt Waldron back yet. Now it makes it a little bit easier because I know that Kyle Hart is going to be starting the game tomorrow. So he's going to get another chance at the big league level, and maybe that will help bridge the gap a little bit. They have options. It's just some of those options are not ready to be big time like starters. They're not ready to be I'm not calling them aces. They're just not ready to take on that sort of role yet. Sean Reynolds did a really good job the other day of he did a really, really good job of limiting the damage. And not to mention, he was sweating like crazy. I have never seen a pitcher sweat to the point where it's dripping off of their hat. It was pretty insane. But Sean Reynolds did okay. We haven't seen many bullpen days under the in the Mike Shildt era. So I don't think that this is going to become a thing. But I'm not sure about Michael King. That kind of scares me just a little bit. All right. Mike Shildt is going long, Sam said. So you know what we'll do right now? We'll get into those fan misconceptions, the fan fact check segment. And then Nick's going to text Sam as I'm giving directions on the air and say, we're going to do this at 4:15 or 4:20 because it will give him a little bit of time to get up and situated and everything like that. But here it is. The Padres, this is what my friend told me over the weekend. The Padres always hit into double plays in big situations. That was the sentence that I got in text message format. And my first thought was, no, they would never. That's not true. That's not true. Friend, you are dumb. It is not true. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to make this a segment. I'm going to go research and see where the Padres rank around Major League Baseball in regards to double plays. Overall, the A's have the most double plays in baseball with 52. So by far and away, the most in baseball with 52. The Padres in overall double plays this year, the Padres are tied for 12th with 34 double plays. So they're not quite in the middle. They're not quite on top, but they still, Sam's ready in 2 minutes. We'll go to Sam. There's a lot of moving and shifting parts to the show today. It'll all get back to a little bit of normalcy tomorrow when Chris is back, because we'll be able to do our thing. I'm also going to be filling in on the Braden Soprenet show for next week, and then on Thursday and Friday of this week. So it's going to be a little bit of a different listen this week. Braden is on vacation. I see all not the mean things on the chat, but where's Braden? Did he get let go? No, he did not get let go. He's on vacation.
Real quick, I'm sorry for interrupting you, Matt.
Yes.
Don took the day off on Memorial Day, and everyone's like, where's Don? And it's like, dude, these guys get days off too.
He also has other jobs.
Yes, absolutely. Braden's got multiple as well. Like they're humans, right?
They are humans. They are definitely humans. Thank you for saying that. But yeah, Braden's just on vacation. He had this vacation scheduled long before he knew he was going to have the Braden Soprenet show. So I'm going to be stepping into his shoes and trying to fill that time later this week, starting Thursday. I am excited I'm going to get back to this fan fact checking. I'm kind of mad that I started it and then now I'm leaving you hanging. But overall, just know this. The Padres are not the worst in baseball at grounding into double plays, and the Padres are not the best in baseball grounding into double plays. They're right there in the middle at 12th with 34. Now, these are kind of weird to begin with because you have to have someone on first. I mean, there's many different ways you could have a double play, but mostly it's someone on first, going to second. Was it 4 or 5 6 double play, 5 4 6 double play? And so there's like circumstances around it. Manny hits into a lot of double plays because there are guys on base for him. So like Fernando doesn't hit into a lot of double plays because he's either leading off an inning or he doesn't have anyone on base. So he's not going to hit into a lot of double plays.
Real quick, I don't want to be a Manny defender, but to his defense,
no, you should be a Manny defender.
He is in a lot of high leverage spots when he's at bat, especially with guys on base. That's usually when Manny's up there.
Yes, and that's why he hits into more double plays than other guys on the team, because he is in those high leverage spots. Now, does it make my brain immediately go and think Manny always hits into double plays? I will say this. My brain does go there a little bit. It does. But again, I have to remember that Manny Machado is also doing lots of great things this year. And if you didn't hear, we started off the show with Manny Machado having a sneaky good start to the year among third basemen in all of baseball. He has he's first in average at 319. He's first in on-base percentage, 391. He's third in OPS at 0.888. He's first in runs, meaning he's getting on base and he's getting all the way around on base because you have to score that run. He's third in stolen bases. He's second in WRC plus. He's third in FWAR. So,
do you happen to have his RISP?
I see these things on the chat. I was
just curious.
I see them on the chat, and I will check this out. I'm just kind of actually like stalling for time at this point, but
our guy is ready when you are. Just an FYI.
All right, yes. Sam Levitt, come on in. How are we doing, buddy? I'm sorry you had such a stressful time getting up there.
What? My time was stressful getting up here? Why?
It just feels like it would be stressful going for Mike Shildt in the dugout all the way up, and you're wearing a suit, and You might be sweaty.
I wouldn't say stressful at all. Had a great time speaking with the Padre manager. Beautiful day here at Petco Park. Why would I be stressed? What an opportunity to work at the ballpark, work around the San Diego Padres, Matt Scraby. I could not be less stressed right now.
It was blessed to be stressed.
Now, I did have to very quickly after Mike spoke come up here, but thankfully, Scraby, we do have an elevator here at the ballpark. Took me right up to the press box and into one of the booths here, and I'm talking to you right now. So, Scraby, I'm just terrific, my friend. Don't worry about me.
Okay, good. I won't ever worry about you again. But I am worried about Michael King. Is the chat immediately when I said, okay, Sam's running a little bit late because Shildt went a little long, the chat immediately said, oh, this is bad news for Michael King.
No, I mean, we didn't get much of an update beyond what we already knew from the last couple of days, which is a couple of things. Number one, they are still in the discovery phase of trying to figure out what exactly is going on with Michael King. I think Mike Shildt has made it pretty clear at this point that this is kind of an unusual injury dealing with his scapula. Nothing was wrong until Michael apparently slept on it wrong and then woke up for that start and, something obviously didn't feel right, but everything was trending in the normal right direction for Michael King, apparently, until he woke up on that morning. So he's still undergoing testing to figure out what exactly is going on. And I don't think there's been really any news either way beyond knowing that they are still in the, what they said the other day was quote unquote discovery phase of figuring out what exactly this injury is and what exactly is going on with Michael King, because it does appear to be kind of an unusual injury, and they're kind of at that point right now. So really, as of today, as of whatever it is right now, 4:12 p.m., we don't have really much to report new on Michael King. They're still figuring out what exactly is going on and I suppose what the prognosis and what the timeline could be.
That's perfect, honestly, because I didn't want to hear any news. No news is good news about Michael King, so we'll have to wait a little bit on that. But how would you say Mike Shildt is feeling about what the Padres have done maybe in the last 10 games? They lost 6 in a row, but then they came back, took the series in Atlanta, took yesterday's game. I would imagine that Mike Shildt's pretty excited about that.
Yeah, look, I think with Mike, and he spoke quite a bit about this actually today, and we'll play it on our pregame coverage coming up at 5:40. I asked Mike about Manny Machado and what he's done lately and sort of the big picture legacy type part of it with Manny. I tweeted it out a little bit earlier, but he's now getting close to 2,000 hits and 350 home runs on the season. By the way, I heard you talking about the runners in scoring position average for Manny. You had to look it up. I'm gonna spoil it for you
because I haven't looked it up yet.
Well, it's well above 300 with runners in scoring position as far as his batting average. So I know people like to, and I didn't even have to look that up. I know people like to call me up and, voice their opinion about a number of different matters, which I always invite. But I did have a conversation, I think it was about a week and a half ago, and the number was even higher, where the caller was accusing Manny essentially of not coming through with runners in scoring position. And look, he had a rough little stretch, the 0 for 15, and nobody really has hit with runners in scoring position for the Padres very well as of late. Yeah. We know that. But you look at the numbers, and the numbers don't necessarily back up, what the caller calls in and says. So, look, I go bringing it back to Mike Shildt for a second. I think with Mike, there are a couple of things that we've learned over the course of the last couple of seasons that really continue to be very true. That A, he is somebody who is not going to overreact to a small stretch of baseball. I think he is a manager who really leans into the length of the season, the idea that this is a really, really long race. It is certainly a marathon and not a sprint. And he's certainly somebody that I don't think act either outwardly, verbally, in what he says to the media, but also what he does as far as a lineup. I mean, it would be easy for a manager to look at what Fernando Tatis Jr. is doing right now and say, hey, you know what? We got to tinker with something. Either you got to give Fernando a day off, or maybe you move him down in the lineup a little bit. Maybe you flip him and Luis Ariz, something like that. But they haven't done that yet. And I think it goes back to Mike being very, very trustworthy of what he has, and that is a veteran team with a lot of very impressive back of the baseball cards. And I do think Mike leans into that, leans into the length of the season, and is not somebody that's going to overreact because of a week and a half, 2-week stretch. And to his credit, we only have one full season to look at. Didn't do that last year, and they ended up winning 93 games. And if you look at Mike Shilt's history, a lot of his teams have done very, very well in the second half. So maybe that's a bit of a product of that, of not overreacting and understanding that the season is very long and typically with twists and turns. So I don't even remember what your initial question was, Gravy. You know me. I'll take your question and I'll just start going with it. But I think Mike obviously is very pleased with the team he has. And again, I think, is not going to overreact to a small stretch of baseball. And I will say this, just from my perspective, you look at the games going back to Friday, the Padres have won 3 of 4. Look, they found ways to win 3 out of 4 when they're not playing great. I mean, they're still not playing great. The runners in scoring position issues continued last night. They went 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. They're batting well under 100 in their last 9 games with runners in scoring position. So it's not like those issues have been cured. But meanwhile, they've won 3 out of 4, and they've got an opportunity in the next 5 games, 2 against Miami, 3 against Pittsburgh, to obviously steady the ship here a little bit and kind of pick up steam before the schedule gets a whole lot tougher.
Yeah, you mentioned Pittsburgh coming into town at the end of the week. I looked at the lineups or lining up for the pitching, and Paul Skeens doesn't seem like he is going to be facing the Padres once again. So yeah, it's very disappointing.
He's scheduled to throw tomorrow, and you could look at it one of 2 ways, right? You could look at it as the Padres miss him.
Padres? Yes, I know.
No, he's not ducking the Padres, but the Padres miss him, which I think is probably a good thing in a baseball sense, although I would have really liked to see him here, and I'd like to see the Padres face him. And I don't think I'm wrong or any fan would be wrong for wanting the Padres to face him and get that Jackson Merrill, Paul Skeens matchup finally. And it just kind of stinks that we're going to have 2 seasons in now and those guys haven't faced one another. And who knows, maybe they won't next year. We'll see, right? It just depends on how the rotation lines up. And the reality is they only play 2-3 game series against one another. So it's always a possibility that they may not line up again, or at least Skeens would not line up with the schedule to face the Padres. And kind of unfortunate, I think, from my standpoint as just a fan. I'd want to see him pitch here and see the Padres take him on. But there's also obviously a silver lining to that as well, that you don't have to face the very talented Paul Skeens.
All right, last one for me, Sam, and then we'll let you go. Thank you for checking in with us.
You got it.
We had this during Padres Pen Pals, so I think it's a fun question. Which team do you think the Padres are closer to? The team that started 14-3 or the team that is 16-19 since?
Oh, I think they're closer to the 14-3 team. Now, were they going to keep up a pace of winning 14 out of every 17 games? I don't think that was ever a possibility. But I think they are closer to the team that played at the start of the year, that moved the line, that had a clear offensive approach, that their bullpen was really, really good. I really think they're closer to that. The answer is you're somewhere in the middle. And it depends where that middle is. Is it more towards the lower end of that middle portion? Is it more towards the higher end and possibility of that middle portion? But I do believe that they are going to be right in this thing until the end, and they're going to be right in the mix. And look, at the end of the day, I know you look at it, and obviously it hasn't been a great stretch. You zoom out, I think going back to April 15th, I've lost track now of what exactly the record is.
Yeah.
It's a losing record, but to their credit, they banked a lot of wins early, and they're sitting here on May 27th, 8 games above 500, 2 games out of first place in the NL West. So while it may have felt at times in the past week like the sky was falling, you zoom out a little bit, and it's just not the case. So I really do believe they are closer to the team we saw at the beginning of the year. And, where exactly they land between what it's been lately and what it's been at the very start of the year, we know it's somewhere in the middle. Where in the middle it is really the question, and we'll find out that answer as we go along here. But I do believe the team that won a whole lot of games at the beginning of the year. I do.
All right, Sam, what you got on your pregame show today?
We will have Padres manager Mike Shildt with the
fancy.
latest on Michael King and Yu Darvish. We'll also have Mike talking about a number of different topics, like I alluded to, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado and more. We'll hear from David Morgan, who made his major league debut yesterday, and David was great. Obviously, 2 up, 2 down in a big spot, 1-run game. David grew up in this area, grew up a Padres fan, coming to Petco Park, so pretty cool to see him make his debut and did a really nice job. We'll hear from him. We'll talk with Tony Gwynn Jr. On our pregame as well, and give you our keys to the game, a full breakdown of this pitching matchup between Stephen Kolek and Max Meyer, and much, much more. It'll be a very, very exciting pregame show.
Well,
Matt Scraby.
I'm glad that you get Tony Gwynn Jr. on your show. So that was a joke, everybody. That was a joke.
What?
I said I'm glad that. Never mind. It was a joke.
I thought it was
flat.
funny. It was subtle, but I thought
because
it was funny.
because he's not on the Gwynn and Chris right now because he's doing other stuff.
Oh, but he was on earlier, right?
Yes, he was. It was.
So what are you complaining about?
It was. I'm not. It was a bad joke. It was a dad joke. It was a terrible joke. I'm gonna pretend like that joke never happened. Thank you, Sam, for joining us.
You're just sitting there. You're just sitting there complaining. You're in a beautiful city, America's finest city. Drive time radio. Scraby, look around.
I got Danucci on the board. Come on.
We're having a good time.
The GOAT. We call it Sam and I.
Nick Danucci, the GOAT.
Sam and I don't. Nick doesn't know this, but Sam and I, when we text about you, Nick, we just send the GOAT emoji.
Oh, Nick knows. Nick knows. I call him the GOAT.
We do. That is how Sam and I communicate. It's just GOAT emojis.
Okay.
Just GOAT emojis.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Sam. Talk to you at 5:40.
All right, Scrabe. Talk to you
right.
later. See ya.
That is it for Sam Levitt. When we get back, I'm going to try to get through some of those fan fact-checking things. I'm not sure how many I'll get through, but we will go through them. And also the Big Five at 4:40-ish, Tony Gwynn Jr. will be back. So Matt Scraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. 5:40. I'm just going to let you in behind the scenes a little bit. Our break times are all messed up this hour. And I have I've been thinking all break, like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So I'm going to have to save my fan fact checking for a little bit later about the double plays. I'm sorry. I tried to get this in. I could not fit it in. So I'm going to save it for the 520 segment. And then I also got some like crazy things that have happened in the 520 or that have happened over the weekend in the 520 segment. But we are going to go to break. And when we get back, I promise you we have 20 full minutes of the Big Five. We will provide you with lots of entertainment. We're going to talk about the SDFC game over the weekend. We're going to talk about Tarek Skubal. We're also going to talk about something that I have made near and dear to my heart, which is Daryl Doucette III, Team USA's flag football quarterback. He is upset about how the NFL players are being not being considered, but he's upset how they're being talked about, like they're already on the team. And I am with him on this. So when we get back, Tony's going to join me and we'll get to the Big Five here on 97.3 The Fan. All right, back here, 97.3 The Fan. Thank you, everyone, for hanging in there with us today. I just want to bring this up before we get into the Big Five. Tony will rejoin me here very, very shortly. As I said, we're going to talk about a lot about some of the big topics of news over the weekend. But tonight is the military hoodie giveaway sponsored by Soapy Joe's and available to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. Limited tickets are still available at padres.com/tickets. I'm trying to get it into the camera, but then I kept blocking my read, so I had to move it. But yeah, you can go and get these if you show up. First 40,000 fans tonight at the stadium. Padres.com/tickets. All right, Tony is back. Traffic is ready. Let's get into the Big Five.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Get a little busy out here, guys. Tow truck rolling up to help out with this crash. East 54 right at the North 805 transition ramp. Also crash involving several vehicles on or near the Friars Road off-ramp, southbound 15. Hit run crash westbound 8 before Los Coches. It's over to the right shoulder. Also have this collision eastbound 56 past Black Mountain Road. It's got the slow lane blocked. And a crash on East 78 before San Marcos Boulevard. Semi-involved in this one. It's over to the left shoulder. And Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we got some good Big Fives, I think, from over the weekend. I was looking at topics all weekend long, and one immediately stood out for me for the #1 topic of the Big Five today.
Number 5.
And that would be what happened at the SDFC game over the weekend. There have been 3 incidents now during SDFC games that have needed a response from the team. First, the chant earlier in the year. Second, the fight outside the stadium with LAFC fans. And then over the weekend, a brawl in the stadium that needed an increased police presence and helicopters and all that stuff with Galaxy fans. So I will say that SDFC has done a really, really good job of immediately saying that this is not okay. This is not what they're about. If you do this, you will not be allowed back in the stadium. But Tony, what else can they do?
Man, I think, police presence probably is more security or whatever you want to call it. Probably has to be in action for the time being. I think that's really the only thing they can do. They can take the extreme step of, not allowing people into the stadium, but that doesn't help their own, case in terms of the profit part of it. So yeah, man, I don't know. It's you would like to think that and listen, it's I'm sure it's not just San Diegans. It's probably a mix of both teams' fans, but you would like to think that we could just be civil,
go to a game,
not take the game so seriously that you want to fight somebody over it. I'm all for competing and having a favorite team, but there should be a line that you just refuse to cross. That seemingly more and more, not just here, but really across the United States, more and more people are willing to not just step across it, but backflip across that line, and then drag their feet on the other side.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's disappointing, but it's kind of what it is right now.
I've thought about this word I'm about to use all weekend and whether I want to use it. And I know this is not just San Diego fans, as you said. It's not just LA fans. It's a combination of both of the fans. But if you're participating in one of these brawls, you are a loser. You really are a loser because you are doing things that are so stupid and you're putting San Diego in a terrible spot. It makes us look bad because I typed in SDF. Guess what? USA Today, New York Post. All of these national publications now are focusing in on the idiot San Diegans that are fighting the LAFC or the LA people. Stop doing this. don't understand it. I don't.
Yeah.
But what can the club do?
I don't know that they can. I mean, they, as you said, I think they haven't like been late. They've been, pretty on top of all of the incidents that's happened.
The coach goes immediately in the press conference and says, I can't condone this. Like, he should not be answering questions after every home game about that.
Here's how I feel is that, we you can chalk this up to being a San Diego, LA thing, which would seemingly always chalk it up. But there was also the other incident earlier in the season. And so, like, that had nothing to do with LAFC or any of the LA teams. So, I don't know. I think we just going to have to try to do – not try. We're going to have to do better. It's just – I mean, it's really that simple. I was actually scared watching the most recent one from the second deck. Like, all I kept thinking was someone's going to flip over that edge. And then what? Like, that was the only thing. I wasn't even really paying attention to the actual haymakers. My man, by the way, was jumping off of the top step with like these.
Okay, don't mean to laugh, but yes.
But it was. I mean, they were getting after it, and all I was thinking about, despite all of that, was a body falling down off of that second deck, and that would have been as frightening as that was. That would have been the I don't know. That would have been
icing on the cake of frightening things.
I didn't want to say icing or cherry on top.
I know we're trying not to make it cool, but
I mean that could have like really been an end result of all that.
A really bad end result of things. So people, get it together. Get it together. Stop making San Diego look like this.
Number 4.
I'm still gonna get hate messages for this take that I have. Trust me.
Yes, you are.
This comes from Barstool Sports, and Tigers fans are very upset, like Pirates fans were when the media was trying to trade Paul Skeens last week. The article was about Tarek Skubal, the Tigers pitcher, and this was coming off his 95-pitch, 13-strikeout complete game performance over the weekend. And the article said, quote, "The word on the street is that Scott Boras, is looking to make Tarek Skubal the first ever $400 million pitcher, and I know that's just a rumor, but here's a fact. The Tigers can't win with Skubal anyway. It's a Paul Skeens Pirate situation. Would you rather have the Cy Young winner surrounded by trash, or would you rather ship him off and hopefully piece together a good enough roster to contend? Because Detroit simply cannot have both." Now, the Tigers are in first place. I'm up first. Why is the media trying to trade Tarek Skubal and Paul Skeens? And we talked to
who wrote this one?
Barstool. So
okay,
take it with a grain of salt when it comes from Barstool. But this is like kind of a theme right now. I talked about it last week. There was a fan who posted a picture of Paul Skeens in like 5 different uniforms, and Pirates weren't one of them, and said, "Where is he going next?" And the guy posted, "How can I be excited about my team when everybody's always trying to trade him away before he's even close to being traded away?" But I don't know why. I don't know why the media wants to do this all the time. I think it's cool that Tarek Skubal's in Detroit. I think it's cool that Detroit's good again. It's a good thing for baseball. I'm not sure why the media needs these guys on huge teams. Tony?
I don't know if this is a media thing. I think people should stop being upset with this kind of stuff because ultimately, like, we are just in an age of information. Like, in the 1990s, this could have still been the same case. We just wouldn't have been talking about it like this at this point. I think these stories are created because we eat them up and it creates a buzz. And yes, I'm sure it is frustrating for the Detroit fans. And I would just say, hey, man, just enjoy him while you have him. Because he may not end up there, and that could have happened regardless of whether this article was ever written or not.
Yeah.
So just enjoy him being there. He might say, you know what, I want to be a Tiger, and I don't want to go anywhere. And whatever that looks like afterwards, everybody has to deal with it. If it's $400 million and Detroit decides to give him that, and they can't pay anybody else, well, guess what? You'll have hopefully a childhood and part of an adult life of watching a Hall of Famer be, put up, give you all kinds of good memories. Maybe, heck, you maybe get lucky and have a good team in there somewhere in that timeline. But I think getting frustrated with this, right now, it's just you're punching at air at this point,
I can see
because
that, yeah.
that's just kind of, and listen, I don't necessarily like it either when, it was happening here, or, can't recall it actually happening here. but nonetheless, I just think that's just kind of part of it. You can choose to ignore it and believe it. It doesn't even mean that Barstool in this case is right. They could be. We'll see.
Yeah. That's funny. I'm trying to think of a guy that people have wanted to trade from the Padres, and I can't think of maybe
not somebody who was really good. They would,
not Tarek Skubal level,
right? No.
Yeah.
Number 3.
All right. The NFL players are going to be allowed to compete in the Olympics for the Team USA flag football team when the Summer Games come to Los Angeles in 2028. But we've already talked about this guy. Darryl Doucette III is already on the U.S. men's national team as the team's quarterback, and they sit on top of the world flag football rankings as of last year. And so he thinks the flag guys deserve their opportunity. He said, yeah, that's what he said. The flag guys deserve their opportunity. That's all we want. We felt like we work hard to get the sport to where it's at. And then when the NFL guys spoke about it, it was like we were getting kicked to the side. I felt like I was the guy who could speak out for my peers, for my brothers that's been working hard to get to this level, for us not to be forgotten, end quote. Tony, are the NFL players going to steal the current flag football team's shine?
They might. I mean, listen, I feel where my man's coming from.
Me too.
I really do. I think and I think you didn't have to ask yourself the question, what was it that got flag football picked up by the Olympics? Was it truly indeed the flag football leagues that are out there? Was it the rising popularity of the NFL, and this is the closest way you can get to it in the Olympics? I don't know. I don't have the answer to it, but I definitely understand where my man is coming from. What's his name again?
Darryl Doucette III.
Yeah, Darryl Doucette III. I understand where he's coming. However, if it turns out that Lamar Jackson and I don't know, just
Joe Burrow and
Saquon Barkley, name your
Tyreek Hill.
If they decide to play and they can pick up the rules, I have a hard time believing that Darryl
Doucette
and the rest of his gang are going to be better at this than those NFL guys. And maybe they will. If the rules aren't like incredibly difficult to learn, and the basics of it are still, you got to go out and run a route, beat a guy, hit a guy with a pass, hand-eye to be able to take the flag. If it's down to those basics, I have a hard time believing that whoever's in this flag football league prior to is going to be able to match up athletically with these guys. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying I have a hard time believing.
I am Team Darryl Doucette and Team USA flag football. I'm out on the players playing. Of course, it's going to be fun to see NFL players play flag football in the Olympics. But I feel, like you said, I feel for Darryl. This is his life. He's put his life into this. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, Joe Burrow wants to play, so you're out, bro. No, that's not how it works. I am the quarterback of the Team USA flag football team. You have to go through me.
That's what I'm saying. So if they have a tryout, and I don't know what the tryout is based off in flag football, but I assume as a quarterback, you got to be able to, I don't know, evade a
There's got to be strategy that we don't know about.
There has to be, because if there's not, Scrape, you're not going to convince me that
they're playing 7-on-7.
You're not going to convince me that Darryl Doucette III is going to be a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
I really hope Darryl Doucette makes the team, shows the team that he can play quarterback. Maybe he'll play NFL quarterback. Who knows?
We don't even have to use Lamar. We can say Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. We
can say Brock Purdy.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if there's no strategy that we don't know about, it's going to be hard to I got to see it.
Now, when Trevor Lawrence says, I'm going to try out for this team, no, Trevor, you're not good enough for the Team USA flag football team.
You got to show me.
You got to show me. Yes, thank you.
You got to show me.
All right, I'm with you, Darryl Doucette III.
Number 2.
I have a weird way.
We don't know if it's going to work out for you, though.
I have a weird way of standing up for the forgotten people. I love it. I have to. The Las Vegas Raiders have made A.J. Cole the NFL's highest paid punter with a reported 4-year, $15.8 million contract extension. This deal includes $11 million guaranteed. He's 29 years old, and he's been named to 3 Pro Bowls, twice earned first-team All-Pro honors, and he signed with the Raiders as an undrafted free agent out of NC State a couple years ago. I'm up first. When you pay your punter, does that mean you don't have faith in your offense? I've seen this on the 49ers. I've seen this where they paid their punter because they knew they were going to be punting a lot. And so they put more resources into defense so that they can have a punter that's going to pin them back in, in the 10-yard line or something like that, coffin corner kick. But I don't get why you pay punters it's not that much money in the scheme of things for the NFL. But yes, when you pay your punter, you don't have faith in your offense, in my mind. Tony?
I don't think that's necessarily true.
I could see it on your face all question long.
First of all, it's 4 years, what, $12 million?
No, it's 4 years, 15.8 with 11 guaranteed.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Highest paid punter in the league.
Yeah, at what, $11 million a year? A little bit more than that?
No. $11 million guaranteed.
4 years, 15. That's.
I'm so bad at math. So $4 million a year. $4 million a year. 4 divided by 16 is 4.
Yes, you're right. $4 million a year. Okay. My point exactly. My terrible math. My point exactly. Like, come on, bro. He's getting $4 million. Like, that doesn't mean that they think that their offense is going to stink that bad.
Tom Brady's like, we need to put some money into a punter, guys. I know how this goes.
I think their offense might be actually all right. You got Geno, you got Genty back there in his new stance. He's not allowed to stand straight up anymore. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that.
Your boy,
my boy,
Chip Kelly,
has
told him he needs to have a regular running back stance, I guess.
Oh, Chip's feeling his oats again because he got back in the NFL. And
he's back feeling himself again. Nonetheless, I don't think that means that at all, Scrape. That's quite hilarious.
All right.
That you accused the 49ers of doing that too, by the way.
Back when they were bad. Back when they were bad. They paid Andy Lee, and then they got rid of Andy Lee once they were good, and their offense wasn't punting so much anymore.
Number 1.
All right. San Diego's Marcelo Meyer got called up by the Red Sox this weekend after Alex Bregman was injured and was told he made the big league team. Started to get ready, could not find his car keys to get over where he needed to go for his major league debut. And I guess it's been a while since his car keys were seen. Doesn't matter. He ended up making it there okay. He made his debut. But my question to you, Tony, is what is the most annoying thing to lose? Like car keys, like important little things that you don't lose them, but when you do lose them, you're in trouble. Because I never lose my car keys, ever.
I lose my car keys now because it's a stupid credit card. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I can't. It's hard, when you need a spare key. Not that you ever need one, right? But when you need it, you can't. I'll go with my wallet. That's the one thing that's extremely annoying. I don't ever lose, but when you lose, it is like your life is coming to an end.
I mean, it's almost true. You can't do anything.
You can't do anything. Like you're typically your license, you probably got a credit card or two in there, and like you got to go through like sitting on the phone and canceling all those things. You got to wait about 5 days to get a new one in. It's just that's the one thing that I think. Although now if you have Apple Pay.
Oh, true.
You lose your credit card, like the instant new one comes to there. You won't have the physical joint, but yeah, man, losing wallet is like top of the list.
I usually end up forgetting like my computer charger or my phone charger, which is very annoying. I never lose my keys or my cell phone or my wallet. For some reason, through all of my drinking years, I never lost any of that, which is
That's crazy.
That's like an Olympic sport in itself right there. I am a gold medalist, but forgetting chargers is all over the place. So that was funny, though. I thought it was hilarious that people were waiting outside, waiting for him to walk out to congratulate him, but he couldn't because he couldn't find his keys. All right,
He's represented by a friend of the show, John Bach. So.
Oh, there we go. John, get him some other keys. Get him like a key finder or something like that.
I have to give him a hard time next time I talk to him about it.
All right, that's it for the Big Five. When we get back, I'll get you set for this game between the Padres and Marlins here on 97.3 The Fan. filling in for Chris Ello today, and Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park getting ready for tonight's game between the Padres and the Marlins. Now, I thought it was quite funny last night when the Padres won on a wild pitch, and Tyler Wade came home, scored, and there you go, walk-off. I always find it really, really, really funny when people post on social media, well, they wouldn't have won unless that guy threw the ball into the ground. That's part of the game. That's part of baseball. Teams win due to wild pitches. I don't understand. I think
it makes Wade look good because clearly Wade has been paying attention to Fernando. Fernando did it the other day, or like last week or two.
Wade's
taking a page out of his book. He's smart.
That's Nick Annucci, by the way, everybody. He is helping me on the board today. Tyler Wade is an extremely smart base runner, and Tyler Wade is very fast. I have no issues with Tyler Wade making moves on the bases. Like if he wants to try to take a base, I'm gonna give him a leash, but not as long of a leash as Fernando, but I'm giving him a leash for sure because Tyler Wade has done some great things. Manny Machado. And then in just a second, maybe like a minute and a half or so, we're going to hear from Mike Shildt, who's talking about Michael King. And I really am curious to hear what he had to say because of what Sam previewed with us. But Manny Machado is having maybe one of the sneakiest, best seasons in baseball right now. In regards to third baseman, his batting average, 319, which is first. His on-base percentage, 391, which is first. OPS, 888, which is third. Runs, first with 37. Stolen bases, third with 7. And then WRC plus, second, and F4, third. Now, the runs, to me, being first is maybe the most impressive thing on that list because you have to be on base to get, to score a run. And so that means that Manny Machado's on base a lot. Also means that when Manny Machado's on base, his team scores him. So that was the one that really stood out to me. And there are lots of Manny Machado doubters. They're kind of like flat earthers. They just don't believe in whatever people say. But this tweet comes from the Podfathers, and it says this: Manny not being clutch narrative is a little weird to me. Currently has 9 career walk-offs. All-time leader is Jim Thome with 13. Good chance he eventually becomes the quote-unquote clutchest hitter of all time. Manny Machado is clutch, people. Manny Machado is clutch. And we still have those stats that I'm going to go through on the double plays, and that's going to be in the next segment. Manny Machado is clutch. There's a reason that Manny Machado is paid as much as he is. I think it's up to $35 million a year. There's a reason for that, because if the Padres didn't pay him that, I guarantee you another team would have paid him that. Because Manny Machado, his stats don't tell the full story of how impactful he is for this baseball team. And thank you to Podfathers for that tweet. That was a really good addition. I mean, 9 walk-offs, Jim Thome with 13. He only needs 5 more in his career. The walk-off is like a double play. It's very specific. You have to be the final batter, or you have to be a home team. You have to be, never mind. Everybody gets what I'm trying to say. Michael King's injury, though, and you, Darvish, because I was concerned over the weekend for Michael King because it went from, teams are always mysterious. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to disclaimer it with that because it's all teams. But it seems like sometimes things go from okay to, you know what? He woke up with some more soreness, and so we're going to put him on the IL and check in with him in 10 days. And then sometimes it just goes to really bad where they're like missing a month. And so whenever a big name player for the Padres goes on, whenever a big name player for the Padres goes on IL, I'm not sure how much I can analyze it. Like, are they going to be gone a long time? Is it true that they're going to be back by their next start? Well, you, Darvish, I thought was possibly going to be back on last week's road trip. He was not. Michael King went on the IL on last week's road trip. Here is Mike Shildt talking about both of those guys.
So go ahead and start off with you, Darvish. And you said there was a smile on his face yesterday after he played catch yesterday. But how did he come out of that feeling?
I think he felt good. He's again recovered well today, and take it today and see what tomorrow looks like. But we're progressing and still getting our hands around, arms around what exactly everything's going on with him. But if he's playing catch and he's feeling good, then we'll continue to take it next step.
I know it's still early with everything with Michael King, but is there any update on him?
There's really not. I know he's going to get, again, we're in a little bit of uncharted territory. This isn't a very common, thing that takes place. So our crack medical team, which are amazing, are working with our team doctors, which are also amazing, and some experts just to figure out exactly what's going on. And, he's getting some incremental improvement. So from what I understand, clearly improvement is important initially and anytime somebody gets injured or hurt, but I think it's especially important with this particular, what he's dealing with. And more so, but yeah, we're doing some testing, further testing, getting some really qualified people and experts in the field for this to look at it. And we'll know more hopefully sooner than later, but that's all we know at the moment.
We had a chance to hear from Kyle Hart today in the clubhouse. What are your expectations for him tomorrow?
No different than any starting pitcher we have, but Hardy's done a nice job. He started the season with us. I was impressed by his ability to adapt to the organization, get better as the spring training went, come in. The starts got better as he went. Also, I was really pleased and impressed by his ability to accept but not like the, going to El Paso and getting some work in. But he's done it, similar to Steven. Steven didn't break with the club, but went down and had the right mindset about, improving his craft. From all reports, Hart's done the same thing. And so I expect something similar that, Steven's done, and come up and give us a chance to win a big league ball game.
That was Mike Shildt talking about a multitude of things. You Darvish, Michael King, we'll get back to in just a second. And then Kyle Hart is going to be starting for the Padres tomorrow. But going back to the Michael King comment, and here is why I am a little concerned. This is a paraphrase, but Mike Shildt said this isn't a common thing that takes place. They need to figure out exactly what's going on, but there is clear improvement, which is important. This isn't a common thing that takes place is what worries me, because it sounded at first like a simple I slept on my shoulder wrong type thing, and then now he's on the IL, and they're bringing in Mike Shildt didn't say this, but to me it sounded like they're bringing in specialists to discuss what's going on with Michael King and his shoulder. So that really does concern me. It is not something that I feel good about whatsoever. And you know what? We do actually, I just got word. There was a follow-up on the Michael King injury, and apparently there's some more information in that. So let's hear that before I keep talking.
But you said that the King injury was not a common thing. Like, what, from your understanding, is what's uncommon about the injury?
It's just more, in the the scap area. It's not overly structural. So we're trying to figure out what's taking place with it, and so to the fact that we're still diagnosing it makes it uncommon.
Is there any understanding of how it came about? Is that part of the?
We literally slept on it wrong, and woke up, and he played catch, threw great. As we do, one of the things we do well, the industry does well, but we do especially well, is we create really strong baselines and understanding, and are constantly testing and sort of aware of players' flexibility, their strength. Now the stuff during the course of games, release heights and spin rates and what their bullpens look like, and so we track all that extremely well, use it very effectively. To the point I'm getting at is all of us tracking in a very good place for Michael, and has been quite candidly since he's been here. And there's been some modifications and some improvement to it that he gets the credit for. But so the day before it was like all systems go, and the next morning wakes up and he's dealing with what he's dealing with. So that makes it unusual as well.
He has thrown or tried to throw, or there's no plan.
He did pick up some plyo balls prior to that, but that was more just to double, triple check that, yeah, this isn't going to happen today, but let's give it the old professional effort, not the college effort. And so he did it, and, here we are.
I will say that Mike Shildt seems to be in better spirits than I think a manager would be if they knew that their player was going to miss a lot of time. But that's me totally reading into it, the way that Mike Shildt delivered that news. And it was kind of strange. It's more in the scapula area. I guess Mike Shildt called it the scap area, which is the shoulder blade. And it's not a structural thing, Mike Shildt said, which is great because you don't want anything structural. They are still diagnosing what is going on. That is why it's uncommon. It's not that the injury itself is uncommon, but not knowing what to diagnose him with and what the next steps are is uncommon. So they're working on it. They're giving their best try to get Michael King back before, or actually just miss one start and get back before his next start. But we'll see. I have a feeling he's going to miss a couple starts. I just got this feeling he's gonna miss the one he missed the other day. He's going to miss one this week, and he's going to miss another one. I would think 3 starts is what he's going to miss if we are to think that he's coming back after his IL time is up. All right, we are headed towards the end of the show. Happy Hour is brought to you by GL Pools, the swimming pool experts trusted by thousands of San Diegans since 2006. Baseball season is in full swing, and so is swim season. Call GL Pools and mention radio for a free month of pool service. Again, call GL Pools and mention radio for a free month of pool service. We'll get some of your comments about Michael King and some of the other stories that happened over the weekend in sports up next on Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. I don't know why, but I think this is my favorite bed just because it reminds me of the Munsters. I think I've said this on the Scraby show before, but yeah. Anyway, Matt Scraby here with you. Nick DiNucci with me as well. We are coming to the end of Gwynn and Chris. I'm filling in for Chris. He'll be back tomorrow. Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park getting ready for tonight's game between the Marlins and the Padres. Stephen Kolek pitching for the Padres and Max Meyer pitching for the Marlins. Now, you heard Mike Shildt earlier today say that Kyle Hart is going to be starting tomorrow. I like Kyle Hart. I think the sending him back down is probably something that he never wanted. Well, I know it's something he did not want to have happen. But like Mike Shildt said, it kind of builds a fire a little bit. He did what he needed to do, and now look at what Stephen Kolek is doing, so maybe it's going to help. I also think that there's a fire within Kyle Hart to make sure that he pitches so well that he never AAA. I don't know that he wanted to come all the way back. I don't know that he wanted to go to Japan or Korea, and then come back and be put in El Paso. That's not something I think that he was expecting whatsoever. This hour 97.3, well, let me start that over. This hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Staples. All right. Let me read some tweets that I got in the break about some of the things we talked about today. First one is from Christian, and Christian is being respectful. So if you want to talk and not argue, but debate, be respectful, and we can debate. But Christian says Machado going 1 for 10 in clutch spots doesn't mean he's clutch, at least for the Padres. He was better towards the end of last year and somewhat better this year. In 23 and 24, he was atrocious. Now, clutch stats are weird to begin with because they're all based upon situation. And so Manny Machado being clutch to a lot of people means, does he come through in situations that they absolutely needed him to come through in? And this is baseball. And baseball is a really difficult sport where you're not going to succeed most of the time. And so I would much rather have Manny ground into a double play to end the game on May 26th or 5th. I'm not going to put a date in the future because I don't want to predict the future. I'd rather him do that then than later in the season when it means a lot more, when there's a lot more weight behind the clutch situation. But I understand, Christian, why you feel that way. I do, because Manny is one of the players on the team. He is the leader of the team. As the leader of the team, you have to come through in certain situations. And I can see why some don't feel that Manny is clutch. But there are certain moments where Manny is more than clutch. He wins games for the team, and he's on one of these tears right now that could, in total, to me, like, I know we're talking about clutch situations, but in the totality of things, his stretch of being hot, basically, 319 average, 888 OPS, that's clutch to me, because the team has needed him through those different spells where they had injuries and where they were losing. They needed him, and sometimes he came through and sometimes he didn't. But I do understand a little bit why you would say that, Christian. David responded and said, Manny had an OPS over 900 in high leverage situations last year and has 3 crucial home runs this week. And he's saying that the overreaction to Manny being a not clutch is dumb. Yeah, Manny has done some great things this week. He's not going to come through every single time. It's just not going to happen. That's what baseball is all about. You come through 30% of the time. 3 out of 10 times is a nearly Hall of Fame career. And Manny Machado, he does his best to carry this team on his back. He does. Back to, real quick, let's go back to Michael King and the injury there. And I was looking on the YouTube chat. If you ever want to watch any of our shows on YouTube, you can just go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan, and you'll be able to see them and chat with people. But I was looking through some of the chats, and about Michael King, they were saying that they believe that he's just going to miss this one start and he'll be back. Some say that no, it's not. He's not going to be back. But for the most part, it looks like he's going to. People think he's going to come back after just this IL stint, which would be really, really nice, because I don't know that they can go for a extended period of time without Michael King being in the rotation. It's just, I don't think that would be a good move, because now Kyle Hart gets way more important. Randy Vasquez gets way more important. Dylan Cease gets way more important. And Michael King, you just can't afford to lose him.
It puts a lot more pressure on the starters that already have a lot of pressure on them because you isn't there, among other things.
It's true. That's Nick Danucci. He is helping me out on the show today. But you're right. I mean, it does put a lot more pressure on the starters. They have to. It all goes downhill. One starter goes 3 innings, then the bullpen gets taxed. The next starter feels like they need to go 7 innings because the bullpen was taxed, and it just keeps rolling downhill. And so, like, their rotation is able to withstand little periods of time missing some guys. But if Michael King, knock on wood, is like a Yu Darvish IL stint, I don't know. That's a lot. That changes the entire complexion of their rotation. And you're moving people up, but you're not necessarily getting a better rotation. You're actually not getting a better rotation because your number one starter is going to be out.
Because hopefully that doesn't happen. Because if it does happen, like the bad scenario of King being hurt and we have to go get another starter, who do we try to trade to even make that happen in the first place?
Oh yeah. I can't even go in that direction. I can't, because we've already talked trades today with Adley Rutschman, all that. I got to see what happens with Michael King first. If he's back, I'm hoping he's back. But Mike Shildt did say that it is an injury, and the reason it's uncommon is because they're still diagnosing it. It's not structural. It's more in the scapula area, which makes me feel like a doctor when I say scapula, and I just ripped the earphones out of my ears right now. All right. I have been telling everyone about this grounding into double plays segment, and it's the fan fact check. And so my friend texted me over the weekend, said the Padres, quote, "The Padres always hit into double plays in big situations." And I said, you know what? I'm going to go look this up and see. So overall in baseball, the A's are the number 1 team with 52 double plays grounded into. Padres are tied for 12th with 34. So they're like middle of the pack. Not terrible, not great, just middle of the pack. When the team is leading, they are tied for 11th with 13. So they are, again, same area as the overall. Not great, not bad. Dodgers and Mets, 2 of the best teams in the league, when their team is leading, have the most grounded into double plays with 19. So it kind of shows you something there. When the team is trailing, when the Padres are trailing, they are tied for 15th with 12. A's have the most with 27. So when they are down, they are middle of the pack. So when my friend says the Padres always hit into double plays in big situations, I would say the team is trailing is a big situation. They're the middle of the pack for the league. If the score is tied, the Padres also middle of the pack, tied for 16th with 9. Mets have the most with 15. So again, middle of the pack. Late and close is a clutch metric, but they are tied towards the bottom of the league with 18. They only have 3. I mean, there's not many opportunities with the late and close, so that's why they only have 3. But they are tied for 18th, which is good because they are down near the bottom. With a runner on first, this is probably the highest that they rank among the league in double plays. But when they have a runner only on first, they are 10th with 24 double plays grounded into. A's, again, are number 1 with 36. So that is their highest number with a runner on first, 10th. I can kind of stomach that a little bit. Runners on first and second, middle of the pack, tied for 15th with 7. Runners on first and third, They have not grounded into one double play this year with runners on first and third. The Dodgers have 6, so they are down at the bottom. And then finally, runners in scoring position, which is something that the Padres have struggled with as of late. You would think there's been a lot of double plays that they've grounded into with runners in scoring position. They're 19th with 10. So going through all of those stats, and all of those are as of this morning, before games started, all of that. If you look at all of that, they are middle of the pack of grounding into double plays. They're not even close to being the worst grounding into double play team in baseball.
So
This is why I like the fan fact check, because initially I wanted to prove to myself that they weren't as bad as people said, and I did prove that. But there are other things where I think that it's one thing when it turns out to be another.
So in summation, your friend, and I mean this respectfully, as
No, you can make fun of him.
No, he sounds like he needs to do his research.
Yes.
Respectfully, of course, sir.
You don't need to be respectful, but yes, do your research. But I mean, this was just one of those things. Padres always hitting the double plays in big situations. I hear this a lot though, and it's not just my friend texting me this. I hear this all the time, but they are middle of the pack in double plays this year. They don't, I mean, if you're going to look at maybe the last 10, 15 games, their hitting numbers are not great. And that's because they haven't been hitting in the last 10 to 15 games. But if you take everything as a whole, it doesn't look so bad. It really doesn't. And that's what I'm trying to get people to realize, is that the baseball season has so many different ebbs and flows that right now they've won 3 out of the last 4 and they're not even playing that well. So they're taking care of business. But when they lost 6 in a row, they just weren't hitting. And that's something that happens to baseball teams. And I have done, I think I did it last week, where I went through the league and how many teams went through a certain number of games without being able to get a run on the board. And it happens to everyone. Did you have something, Nick? Sorry, I thought you had something. John says 162 is a grind, man. Yes, it is. It is a grind. Nate Taylor says your friends don't know ball, Scraby. I love that, because
Nate keeps it 1,000. Nate,
I love it. I love it because people tell me I don't know ball all the time, but I'm going to go tell my friend you don't know ball, because that would be fun. All right. We're coming to the end. Sammy Lev up next. Padres pregame show. He is up in the Western Metal Building, and so you are going to get to hear everything you need to know. He'll fill you in on the latest from Mike Shildt. He will talk about the different news stories and news items heading into the game tonight. But I want to leave you with this. And it is, I have followed this account on Twitter, and I don't know why it keeps finding, or why it keeps sending me the posts that I love the most. But these are all new food items around the world. I'm going completely off the board here. It's all new food items around the world. McDonald's has launched a new mac and cheese snack wrap in Singapore. It contains crispy mac and cheese patty, scrambled eggs, cheese, and meat. I'm into that. Why can they not have this here in the United States? Nick, would you like to eat a mac and cheese snack wrap?
That might have to be after a Friday or Saturday night outing. You know what I mean?
Really? You could just go through the drive-thru and pick up a mac and cheese snack wrap?
Maybe, but that's, you know what I mean? That just sounds, I'd have to look into that before I, want to go eat it, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, it looks so good. I'm into this.
It sounds like a nice guilty pleasure late night snack.
Nate says, how did you gain all the weight? I don't know if he's talking to me, but yeah, it's me wanting to eat things like the mac and cheese snack wrap. Before SD Fat Loss, I would have gone to the drive-thru after the show and gotten a mac and cheese snack wrap. I love anything mac and cheese. All right, thank you to everybody for listening today. Sam Levitt up next. Chris Ello back tomorrow on 97.3 The Fan. Thank you for being here.